And we are live. Hello again, everybody. Jamaican youth in the building. And we are getting started with this live. Let's just set up a few things. We have a little bit to discuss today with the concacafgoldcup going on. But we're just going to uh, make sure all is well. Get organized real quick. All right. So we're good. So, yes, people. I guess we're kind of just waiting on people to join the live, making sure, say, um, get things going the right way, and then just try and make sure, say, camera turn. See, is a delicate dance, you know. All right, let's make it stay there. We'll just try the things in our makeshift studio today, and yeah, a lot to talk about, people. A lot to talk about. I don't know if a lot of you going to be catching this from the beginning, because when I go live, I just go live. I don't really have the whole intro or setting much of a notification. Maybe which probably I should do, but you know what I mean. Yeah, we're here to talk about the Gold Cup. I mean, there is a lot to discuss, and um, yeah, we're gonna talk about what's been going on. I mean, we see Canada last night thrown aside 6-love. Canada beating Guatemala by 6 goals to nil. Um, and that's our group. So, you know, we have to talk about, well, not our group, but it's the group that we will face if for some reason Jamaica the makes it out of the group. And it's a big if at this point, because you know what I mean, our fate is only a little bit in our hands. It's not completely in our hands. So we really have to do a lot to um to make sure that we are in the competition past the group stage. What I think if we drop out in the group stage is not going to be devastating. But I just want to send a little message right here. So, but yeah, wouldn't that be devastating if we drop out in the first round? You know what I mean? It would be catastrophic. But we want to talk about it. As you see, we say in the thumbnail, we're pretty much asking if Jamaica can make a comeback, in this CONCACAF Gold Cup. Um, and if they're going to make a comeback, how what needs to happen for that to be accomplished? We're here to talk about that today, because I think the loss to Guatemala was a big blow, massive blow in terms of the our aspirations of moving on to the latter stages of the competition, or later stages of the competition. So you know um let's let's talk, first of all, before we get to what we want to talk about. Just like as you come on the live, if you can just hit the like button, I really appreciate you being here today. And yeah, if you just can help hit the like button and send out the video to more eyes, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed as yet, please do so. But a big embarrassing defeat for Jamaica. Very disappointing. Very unexpected, really. I don't think the fans were expecting a defeat to Guatemala, and the defeat really kind of threw our Gold Cup aspirations off kilter, really, because a lot of people were kind of saying that Jamaica probably could even win this Gold Cup. You know what I mean? And right now, we can't really say that anymore, because you know this is a big loss to Guatemala. Now, somebody could maybe compare this loss to Guatemala. Remember, Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia in the last World Cup and went on to win the World Cup, you know. So it's possible that that could still happen. But boy, the attitude of the players and just the overall, you know what I mean, demeanor, you know, we weren't able to match Guatemala at all. We weren't able to break them down. We hardly got a good shot at goal. Their keeper didn't really do anything. And one have to ask the question, where did the Reggae Boyz go? Where did the team go? I mean, this was the same team that defeated Guatemala by 3 goals to nil a few days ago. I know you're telling me that you bring that team come to play the same team. Granted, it's a new and improved Guatemala because they have added, they rested a lot of players in the World Cup qualifier in Kingston. Granted, so it wasn't exactly the same team, but still, you know what I mean. I wasn't necessarily expecting to beat them 3-0 again, but I certainly wasn't expecting to lose to Guatemala. And it just kind of shows that you don't know which Reggae Boyz team is going to show up on the day. Who is going to show up on the day? What team is going to show up on the day? Are we going to have, the Reggae Boyz that defeated, Guatemala, or the one that played to the 2-2 draw against Nigeria? Are we going to get that Reggae Boyz, or are we going to get the one that barely scraped by the BVI in that World Cup qualifying campaign? You know what I mean? We don't know what we're going to get. And that's a problem for the coach to solve. You know what I mean? We cannot be this inconsistent. We have to have more consistency by far. You know what I mean? Like, the inconsistency is hurting us. It's killing the progress of the team, and it is making our confidence as fans and confidence in the team, it's wishy-washy. You know what I mean? Because you just don't know what you're going to get. You know what I mean? You don't know which team is going to show up. You don't know if they're going to show up on the day and they're going to be lights out world beaters, or they're going to be a run-of-the-mill second string team that, you know what I mean, is, can barely keep up with the likes of these Central American teams. And it's sad because I think CONCACAF is waiting for Jamaica to finally become and stake their claim as a major team in CONCACAF and do so consistently. The talent is clearly there. The players are clearly there. We have one of the best rosters in CONCACAF. I mean, when you look at Guatemala's team, they have a lot of local-based players. And that is not to say that local-based players cannot represent well. But if you look at the leagues where our players come from, you're talking about the Premier League, the English Championship. We have players in Turkey. We have players in the Saudi Pro League. We have players in MLS sometimes, and we have players, staking their claim to make a jump overseas. We have players from the gamut, but when you look at some of the Central American teams, most of them are based locally, and they have really good domestic leagues, and that's one of the things that we have to look into. We have to really continue to improve our domestic product. It's improvements have been made. It's not like it's 100% bad, or it's all bad. It's good, but I think we definitely need to do better, and a lot of this is on the coach. We can go back and look at the Guatemala situation and say, well, maybe a mistake was having Damian Lowe start in midfield. And I understand the logic, what the coach was using. He wanted to have Damian Lowe in the midfield because he was a tackler and he wanted him in there to break up plays. But the problem is that the midfielder does more than just tackle and break up plays. You have to get the ball and distribute the ball as well. And unfortunately, that's not really Damian Lowe's, forte. I think, the guy on Sportsmax, he did, I watched his breakdown of the Guatemala, and he had a good breakdown of how the defenders see the game. They see the game in front of them, and maybe to the side. But rarely do they have to receive the ball, turn around and distribute it, or receive the ball from sideways and move it to the other side, or receive the ball, advance it, and then make critical plays to give our attacking players options at goal. Because if you think about it, look at the Guatemala game. How many real shots did we have on goal against Guatemala? How was our attacking? The Guatemala keeper never really did much in the entire game. How can we come from the type of game we played in Jamaica and come and give this type of performance in the Gold Cup? I mean, it's just totally, bizarre. It was a bizarre performance, and I am pretty shocked by it, to be honest with you. We were humbled because we were all riding high. Remember, we were all riding high about Jamaica can win this Gold Cup, and we get a nice World Cup qualifying group, and we have all the right players now, and we have big players coming in. The confidence was there, and then Guatemala comes and put in a stellar performance. Kudos to Guatemala, because that's one of the things that we kind of tend to sidestep. That they played a very good game too. You know what I mean? They made sure that they're defensively they were very strong. Defensively, they warded off any attack by Jamaica. They were up in our face, just like the coaches say. They were more intense than we were. And we tried to be intense in the beginning, but we made a lot of unsettled passes in the beginning of the game. It took us like 30 minutes or after the goal score for us to really start settle down. And I think we tried to use the same strategy we used in Kingston, which, okay, it made sense. But it was clear that Guatemala went, studied what we did, and came with a plan to thwart whatever we were doing in Kingston. They pressed us, and we were not able to adjust to it in the game. And that's one of the things I want to talk about today, when I get to talking about what needs to be done in order for us to possibly salvage this Gold Cup 2025. Can we salvage this Gold Cup 2025? A lot needs to be done in order for that to happen. But before I get into that, I just want to touch briefly on the game between Jamaica and Guatemala. I just want to look at some stats, really. A few other stats before we get into that. I'm just going to pull it up here in a second. Right? Here it is. Now, this is one of the things, and these are some of the things that I want to talk about. I'm going to bring it up. Just bear with me, right? Because this is really important. All right. Let me see. Here it is. All right. So you see what's on the screen, and I mean, this is really just the statistics between Jamaica and Guatemala, right? Now, you see here, we had 15 shots, but only 2 of them were on target. Guatemala had more shots on target than we did. They even scored an offside goal. The possession, we had as much as 55% possession. At some point in the game, it was like up to 57%. They had 45%. We made 444 passes, but a lot of those passes were behind the lines. They were in defense. And, a lot of side to side. Our passing accuracy was equal to them. They outfouled us. They fouled us more than we fouled them, which tells you a lot. They were really up in our face. They wanted to be physical with us and show us that they're not going to be bullied. You know, they foul us more. You know, so that's an important statistic there. That's not to say we want to aim to win the foul statistics. I'm not saying that, but it just shows you how physical they decided to be, because you know, typically Jamaica, it would be the more physical team, you know, there, but that's not what happened. We had one yellow card. I think that was a Damian Lowe yellow card. There were no red cards. Three times they were offside, including the time when they scored the goal. We didn't even have an offside. You know, our attack was anemic. Again, we only had two shots on target, two for the entire night. You know, and then they were offside three times. We weren't even offside any time. They have three corners. They have two corners. So it looks like we have good statistics in terms of shots and possession and passing and not committing as much fouls and all of that. But if the important statistics like shots on target here, four by them, they're doing better, and they had more of an attacking intent. They look better on the day. We really messed this up. You know, I think we really messed this up. We should not have lost that opening game. You know what I mean? Sports on the ball. Bless up yourself, man. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. And as you come in, just hit the like button. I appreciate every single one of you. And thanks for being here again. But we messed this up. We should not have lost that first game. Let's just put that on the table. You know what I mean? We should not have lost that opening game. We should have gone in there with a much more intentional approach to, you know, I think there was a little bit of overconfidence there, maybe a little bit of you know, we have beaten them before. This team is our beaten stick. We haven't lost to them in 13 years. You know, we were saying that. And then lo and behold, it puts us here. So we can all establish that the game was not played well. You know, there were quite a few mistakes by the coach, including starting Damian Lowe in the midfield. There were not many balls getting to the attacking players. Warner Brown suffered for the entire game. I mean, he hardly had a touch on the ball, and had to be running up and down. The commentator, Damari Gray, for the opening 20 or so minutes after he never touched the ball. Damari Gray, one of our most important attacking players, didn't touch the ball at all in the first 20 minutes of the game. That stuff like that can't happen. Warner Brown hardly got the ball. The guy that scored, that's essentially, if there's any player that has been on fire for Jamaica, it would be Warner Brown. So right now, Warner Brown and Damari Gray, who has a very good goal scoring track record with Jamaica, those are two of our most important players. You know, hardly touched the ball in the opening stanzas of the game, and against a team that is inferior to us. And that's statistics. They're statistically inferior to us. That's not me just saying that. They are ranked 103 in the world. We are ranked 62 or 63 in the world. You know, we have played them over the last 13 years, and they have not beaten us over the last 13 years. So statistically, Guatemala is an inferior team to us. You know, and we couldn't get our best players on the ball within the opening so many minutes of the game. So, you know, not a good not a good beginning to the tournament for Jamaica. I think, you know, a lot has to go in our favor in order for us to salvage it. So what do we do to salvage it? All right, let's take this off for a minute. How can we salvage this World Cup? Well, I believe that a few things have to happen in order for us to salvage the World Cup. And I mean, it's hard. Can the Reggae Boyz make a comeback in the World Cup? Well, to me, the short answer is yes. We can make a World Cup, but what needs to happen? I think we definitely need to learn from the last game and not commit some of the errors that we committed in the last game. You know what I mean? We made people play in positions that, you know, they don't belong in, you know, and we want to change that. Now, here are my feelings or thoughts on what needs to happen in order for Jamaica to make or salvage this Gold Cup. For one, I think Jamaica needs to defeat Guadeloupe by a large scoreline. We have to beat them by 3 or 4 goals because goal difference is going to be important for us from here on in because we can no longer get 9 points. You know, if we could get 9 points, then of course, obviously, we can qualify and all of that. But goal difference is going to be impactful for us. You know what I mean? Because there's a possibility that game between between Panama and Guatemala, that's going to be a very pivotal game in the Gold Cup or in our group because they have already they have started off. They have 3 points on the board already. You know, so it's going to be interesting to see who wins that game. Jamaica plays Guadeloupe in our next game. We expect Jamaica to win that game, but we cannot go into that game with the same attitude that we went into the BVI game with, and the same attitude that we went in the Guatemala game with. Because I think, you know, even though, yes, I agree, the pitch in BVI, they call it a leveler, it's not a good pitch or whatnot. But I just believe that even though it's not a good pitch, we should have still put in a better performance than that. They are playing on the same pitch too. The BVI team is playing on the same pitch. So if they can, you know, and I understand they were playing a low block or whatnot, but we have to we have to be conscious of every time we get into a game with an opponent, they're coming to beat us because we are ranked high. It's just like when we play Mexico or the US, right? Psychologically, we want to beat them because we know that they're better than us. We know that over the years, they have been better than us. So for us to get a victory over them is going to be a big deal. That's the same thing when a Guatemala faces Jamaica. That's the same thing when a BVI faces Jamaica. They don't want to lose so easily. They want to beat us. So we can't go with the mentality that, oh, we're better than them, so we'll just knock the ball around and our quality alone will beat them. That's not going to happen in CONCACAF, you know, because in CONCACAF, you have to come with quality, you have to come with heart, you have to come with physicality, you have to come with psychology, you have to come with every aspect of the game. That's why you notice some players, European players that play in big leagues abroad, when they come and play in CONCACAF, it's not so easy. I mean, look at Liam Bailey. The commentator was saying it. They say Liam Bailey, he plays well when he's over there in Aston Villa, and when he played for Bayer Leverkusen, oh my God, he was scoring some spectacular goals for Bayer Leverkusen. You know, I personally, I'm waiting for the day to see Liam Bailey score one of those spectacular goals that he scored for Bayer Leverkusen. Not even Aston Villa. Remember that first goal that he scored for Aston Villa? The goal that Matty Cash played from all the way over the other side of the field and play it in front of him and run it down and head it in front of him and just blast it in on the back of the net. That was a spectacular goal. Yeah, and also when you look at his even before Aston Villa, he has scored some really good goals for Aston Villa. But even before Aston Villa, when he was at Leverkusen, you know, he was taking free kicks, some spectacular free kicks. I saw in the COVID era where he took that corner one, that set piece. You can see it was the set piece coach that set that up, where he took the corner and passed it short to somebody, and then ran behind him, and then the same person play it back in front of him and just lace it with him left foot, bend it around everybody, dropping in the net. The keeper never expected. When is that Leon Bailey going to show up for Jamaica? When am I going to see that Leon Bailey? when are you going to like come win a game for us? When are you going to do like Christian Pulisic? The US right now, they're going hard at Christian Pulisic. They're saying, oh, even what's his name, the coach Pochettino is saying, man, I can't. It blows his mind, the US coach, that there are players who don't want to come and represent their country, because it would never happen in Argentina. You get a chance to represent Argentina, you jump up and you take it regardless of what your situation, even if it's a friendly. Messi will come and play a friendly against Cayman once the national team come and call him up. They're going at Christian Pulisic hard. But the thing with Christian Pulisic, though, is that whenever he represents US, he becomes Captain America. No matter what his club form is, no matter what he's doing, he becomes Captain America. He plays well. I want to see that for Leon Bailey. I would love to see Leon Bailey become what Christian Pulisic is for the United States. No, that doesn't mean that you take the ball and you hold on it where you don't need to, Leon Bailey. I'm not saying that at all. Pass the ball. You don't need to always dribble. But I'm talking about in terms of setting up the team to be successful with either scoring or creating more opportunities. But just in general, we need to come with a much more serious approach than we have. You know what I mean? And play our style, impose our style, and stop being so unpredictable and inconsistent. We have to be more consistent. So the first thing I think we need to do is Jamaica, we need to defeat Guadeloupe by a large scoreline by either 3 or 4 goals. That's number one. The second thing that needs to happen is we need Guatemala to lose to Panama, hopefully by at least 2 goals. No, we don't have any control over that, and, as they say, the way to change the world is to control what you do. You can only control you. You can't control others. So even though I'm saying hopefully Jamaica loses to Panama by at least 2 goals, that's not in our hands. What's in our hands is defeating Guadeloupe by a large scoreline. Get that goal difference up there, because that's going to play a major role. But while we're doing that, we can always hope that Guatemala loses to Panama by at least 2 goals. Because if Guatemala loses to Panama and we beat Guadeloupe, then we're back within a chance. But Guadeloupe is our best chance to build up the scoreline, because that's not going to happen against Panama. Which obviously means for us to go through, we're going to have to beat Panama, which is not going to be easy, right? So if we beat Panama, that's not going to be more than something like a 1-0 scoreline, possibly a 2-0 scoreline, or 2-1. You know what I mean? It's not going to be a significant defeat. Which would also put Panama against it too, because they also would have been on 6 points. So if we think, okay, Panama defeats Guatemala, that puts them on 6 points. If Jamaica defeats Guadeloupe, that puts us at 3 points. That leaves Guatemala on 3 points as well. And then that would leave us to fight it out on the last game. Jamaica has to bring their A game in order to beat Panama, because that's not going to be an easy game by any stretch at all. What we possibly wouldn't want is having if a draw happens against Panama and Guatemala, that's a possibility too. That would leave, Guatemala on 4 points and Panama on 4 points, which would now means we definitely have to beat Guadeloupe again, I think by a large scoreline. And then when we play Panama, we have to beat them as well. That would be, at that point, it wouldn't matter how much we beat them by. It would just matter that we beat them. You know what I mean? So I what I think will happen is that Panama will defeat Guatemala. Because if they draw against Guatemala and leave it up to the final game of the group to play against Jamaica, if you assume that Jamaica will defeat Guadeloupe, if they leave that final game up to defeat Jamaica in the last game of the round, if Jamaica beats them, Panama is out, because we can assume that Guatemala will beat Guadeloupe, you know, and then Guatemala will win the group by being on 7 points, and Panama will be dropped out. Jamaica would move on if Jamaica beats Guadeloupe and then no beats Panama. So I think Panama will definitely go for the win against Guatemala. I think Panama will definitely go for the win. They will want to win it. If they win it, it's still, and Jamaica beats Guadeloupe, it still puts us in a tough position, because, you know, that leaves Guatemala to play Guadeloupe, and Guatemala is going to go for the win. They're going to probably try and rack up the scoreline. That is why our mentality now, Jamaica, has to be, let's beat Guadeloupe by a large scoreline. That has to be our mentality. We cannot make too many mistakes and give, you know, Guadeloupe too many opportunities. Remember, Guadeloupe scored 2 goals against Panama. It was 5-2. And Panama is not the easiest team to score on. So we have to be mindful of that. Then the third thing I think needs to happen is that we need to use specialty midfielders. You know what I mean? We can't, the experiment is over, I think, for the coach. We can't have Damian Lowe. I love Damian Lowe. I think he's an outstanding defender. I think he plays with his heart on his sleeve. And he is, you know what I mean, he means the country. When he plays for Jamaica, he wants to really put his heart out there for Jamaica. But he's not a midfielder. Damian Lowe is not a midfielder. That you know, experiment has to stop. And I noticed the coach has now called for Sule Makala, which I'm assuming he's bringing in as a CDM in place of Isaac Hayden, who I understand is not even with the team. I thought that Isaac Hayden was sick. Or is he just, I don't know. But he's called it, Sule Makala has been called up, and also what's his name? Karoy Anderson, 2 midfielders, has now been called up to the national team. Sometimes I'm not so sure, like, you know, you have to ask yourself the question, didn't the coach think about these things before? No. You know, because like you had there was a lot of time before this Gold Cup started. I think Ravel Morrison should have been on that 60-man squad. You know what I mean? I don't know why he's not here. Yeah, Brando, big up yourself. Thanks for being here. Say Isaac returned to England. So yeah, I don't know. So we don't have that CD. We don't have that number 6 anymore, and that's such a critical position. I guess Sule Makala will be, you know, replacing him. You know, I hear Isaac, what's his name? As I was saying, Ravel Morrison should have been in that 60-man pool. You know, there were rumors that there was a player in the squad not, or giving a little trouble or whatnot. But you know, I don't know if it was I don't know if it was Ravel Morrison or not. But we really lack a creative midfielder. I saw a difference in the Guatemala game when Casey Palmer came onto the field. I know a lot of fans don't really like Casey Palmer like that, but with what I saw against Guatemala, I think I would prefer to see Casey Palmer, John Russell, and you know, Isaac Hayden if he was there. But if there's no Isaac Hayden, you know, I guess we have to put in Richard. Well, we can't use Richard King now. Maybe Sule Makala has to come in. A CDM. Maybe Joel Latiba there. Put in Joel Latiba there as the CDM, and play Dexter Lembikisa as the right back. Here's the thing, right? We saw Casey Palmer and John Russell play the midfield in the Unity Cup, and they look good to me. The question is, Sports on the Ball says, the question is, are there any natural CDM that is better than Low and Latte? In the squad right now, I mean, the answer to that would be better than Low. You mean outside of Isaac Hayden? You're not including Isaac Hayden in this. Just out. So hear me out on this. I believe that Richard King, while he's not a natural CDM, I would like to see him try it. I would love to see. I think because of his composure on the ball and his more of a, you know, he's a calmer player, less likely to commit fouls in the way Damian Lowe would. Even though, I mean, that could kind of contradict what the coach says, because he put Damian Lowe in the midfield because he wanted him to break up, you know, break up plays. I get that. But I would love to see him try Richard King in the CDM role, because I would rather see King in the CDM and Damian Lowe in defense than the reverse. You know, I would prefer that. But anyway, I would say put Latiba there in the CDM and put what's his name? Dexter Lembekisa back in right back. That inverted right back play worked well when Latiba was there in Jamaica. But at this point, since Isaac Hayden is gone and Damian Lowe is injured, he's not gonna play the CDM. Damian Lowe is not gonna play the CDM. I think you put in Latiba there. In the CDM and put Dexter Lembekisa there. It seemed like the coach kind of wanted to get rid of Dexter Lembekisa because he had one bad half against Nigeria. I get it. He played well in the Trinidad game, and he had a bad first half against Nigeria, and since then he hasn't been back full time in that right back role. But that's what has to happen now. Casey Palmer and John Russell look good in the midfield. And when we play the Unity Cup, I don't think you change that. Put what's his name? Put Casey Palmer, John Russell, and Latiba there as a CDM, and that's your midfield. Now with Karai Anderson coming in, if you want to freshen up the midfield, you can use him. And if you need to freshen up the CDM role, if Latiba there is kind of out of it again, you can put in Sule McCullough. But that's what I would do as the midfield situation. Brandon says Palmer offered more than Gray for sure. Yes, he offered more than Gray, but here's the thing too. I don't really think Gray was so much the issue in that he did offer Palmer, which I like, offered more, but I think we weren't getting the ball enough to Gray. And maybe Gray doesn't drop deep enough when he plays that midfield role to get the ball, whereas Casey Palmer tends to come back a little bit deeper and receive the ball and carries it up. But I definitely think you want to go back to Casey Palmer, John Russell, and Latiba there. I think the coach is probably trying to play all his best players on the field at the same time, and it doesn't always work out that way. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work out that way. I personally think that what the coach might do is actually put on might put Latiba there. He's probably still gonna go with Russell and Gray. But he might want to consider going Russell Palmer with Latiba there as the CDM. That might be something that he wants to consider. I think he's just in a dilemma where he wants to find a way to have Gray on the field because Gray is a good ball handler and he scores goals. But if you're talking about being a midfield job, I just think that, yeah. Philo's Vision Exchange, enough respect for the live chat, but respectfully, we have to move past Ravel Morrison. The coach and team made bad mistakes, and I hope they can recover from that game. Yes, okay, yeah. The Ravel Morrison, yes, we have to move past him. I don't think Ravel Morrison comes back in the World Cup qualifying. I'm just saying it would have been nice if he was on the 60-man squad now and he could have helped us. No. But yes, I mean, Ravel Morrison is probably not going to be with the team going forward. I understand that. Yes. I won't fight you on that one. It's just that right now we have a dilemma in the midfield, and it's probably one of the reasons why we are in this. We lost our first game. One of the reasons, not the reason, but one of the reasons. Brando said Karai potentially, but not really a 6. No, yeah, Karai is not a 6. As I said, maybe Latibodir. Latibodir, it seems like, look, again, I always say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's not broke, you don't need to fix it. Russell, Palmer, and Hayden played really well in the Unity Cup. All right, Hayden is not there now. You can put Latibodir there. Lembikis also played decent against Trinidad in the Unity Cup as well. So I would put him there in the right back position. So Hayden has gone back to England, I understand. Latibodir played better at right back than Lembikis. That might be true, but we don't have a CDM now, and Latibodir is the only natural CDM that we have, or he's the best CDM that we can have, unless you want to put Sule McCullough there, which I'm not going to. He just came up. I wouldn't throw him into the game immediately. You know what I mean? And Richard King is going to have to play defense now. So even though I would like to try him in the CDM role, that can't happen now because Lowe is injured and Mason Holgate, I don't know what's his status. I think he's still injured, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be Richard King and Ethan Pinnock in defense. And Latibodir is going to have to be called upon to play a lot of different roles. Because even though he was playing that inverted right back position, he's going to have to probably go to CDM right now. That's what I would do at least. Sports on the Ball says, I need to see McCullough again. And if he don't perform, he should be dropped from the squad permanently. Well, Sports on the Ball, he's getting a chance. No, he has been called up. And, I know he made a mistake against, which team was it that led to the goal? I don't know. I don't remember. It's in the National Stadium. But he's getting a chance again, so we'll see. I'm pretty sure he'll probably need to play because that position, that CDM role, is critical. He's probably need to play. So we'll see. You say, agreed, Brando. Gray did call oftentimes and didn't get the ball. Gray was also poor defensively. Right. That's what I'm saying. Gray wasn't getting the ball. There were times he was in position to get the ball and they just never pass it to him. I saw him. But the issue with Gray is that he doesn't drop deep enough, like Casey Palmer. Casey Palmer will drop deep to get the ball. Gray, when he's playing the number 10 role, he doesn't really want to go deep. He wants to receive the ball high up the pitch. And that might be an issue because, like we weren't, if we fall in a situation like we did against Guatemala where they're pressing us mid-press kind of, because notice that's what they were doing. They were giving us a mid-press, and then Jamaica would just back off and go negative and pass the ball around their defense. And once they decide to go forward, if they try to go through the midfield, then they would clog the midfield, put the midfield under pressure, and then we would go back with the ball. And then what tended to happen is that we go long. So maybe it is that these teams know that Jamaica has a midfield problem. Could it be that? Could it be that these teams, in their preparation to play Jamaica, they know that we have a midfield problem? So maybe Guatemala's approach was, look, Jamaica has a midfield issue. Let's press them in the midfield so that they push the ball back and they try and go long. Because when you go long, it's a 50-50. It's a 50-50 for you to get the ball. So maybe, just maybe, that was Guatemala's plan to clog the midfield for us, because we have a midfield issue, and throw us off, and then have us just kind of throw it up to the forward players, But again, you saw when KC Palmer came out, went deep for the ball and came back. And I think the overall reset in the second half, where you had Damian Lowe drop back in defense and Dexter Lembikisa playing a more wing type of right wing, as opposed to an inverted right wing in the way that Latibodir did, it kind of looked a little bit better from my perspective. Midfield, Palmer, John Russell, and Lati. Left back, Bell. Right back, Dexter in the overlapping role. I can't disagree with this. This works for me. Philo's vision exchange. I agree with this. What I mean? It leaves out Demari Gray. I get that, who has been consistent goal scorer for Jamaica. So I think that's the dilemma that the coach faces. He wants to find a way to have Demari Gray in the squad or on the field at all times, and I don't know if that can always happen. But this is this that you have right here: Palmer, Russell, Latibodir. Latibodir was what's his name? Isaac Hayden. But this was what you had in the Unity Cup, at least the beginnings of it. Palmer, John Russell, Latibodir, then left back Bell, right back Dexter. I think I would go with that. Chorus, big up yourself and thanks for being here. You said Lati would be a better fit to play CDM for Russell, or Russell fill that spot. I would say I would go with Latibodir. I mean, I would let Russell continue to do what he's doing. I mean? I would let Russell continue to do what he's doing. I mean? I would have be the box to box. I would have him continue to be that, and make Latibodir play the midfield, play the CDM, role. Then again, this combination I think works, but I don't know if the coach will do that, because he probably wants the Mara Gray on the field, and I can see why. He wants the Mara Gray on the field. I wouldn't want to move for. Yeah, I agree, Chorus. Let him continue. Let him continue to do what he's doing. He's fine. Let him stay. I would just put in Latibodir as the CDM. Brando says, move Gray out left, bench Cephas, and bring him on as needed for the middle. Palmer, Russell, and Lats. Well, that one is interesting. That's an interesting take on it. I thought about that too, but you see, because of how Cephas has performed over the last few games, from the Unity Cup to coming up. I know against Guatemala, even in the game that we won 3-0, he wasn't really that impactful as he has been in the Unity Cup. And also against Guatemala in this first game, he wasn't really that impactful either. He created one opportunity and the keeper ended up saving it, or they ended up clearing it out of the defense, Cephas. But you might be onto something. You might be onto something, Brando. Yeah, I love Cephas and I'm one of the big advocates for Cephas, but I think maybe that might be a thing to do. Put Gray out on the left, and so it would be Gray, Bailey. Then you have that would have to be it. Then you have Palmer, Russell, and Latibodir. Yeah, I think that could work. I mean, Cephas hasn't been as impactful as we'd like him to be in the last few games, but he definitely I would try that. I would try. I would try it. I think that would be something I could try. I would be comfortable trying. You know, we could play Russell and Anderson as a double pivot. Yeah, Russell and Anderson as. I don't know about Anderson still. I don't think I would start Anderson right now. I would rather go with Russell and Palmer than Russell and Anderson. You know what I mean? Anderson is probably would be only there to freshen up the midfield if it needs freshening up. You know what I mean? That's from my perspective. I would rather go with Russell Palmer. Because I haven't seen Anderson in a while. I don't know what form he's on. I would much rather have Palmer start since he has been with us and then bring on Anderson maybe in the last 20 minutes of the game, provided we're at a position where we have established some dominance and everything is going good. Maybe bring him on to freshen up the midfield, but I wouldn't start with him. You know. And big up yourself, Garrett McLean. Thank you for being here, man. Appreciate it. Corey says, unless you put Palmer, drop Russell at 6. Put Palmer at 8, drop Russell at 6, and Lati at right back. And then who would you put as? So then you would still go with. Okay, so let me see what you're trying to say. Palmer at 8, Russell at 6, and Lati at right back. But then you only have two midfielders. Are you saying that's like a 4-4-2 situation? Chorus. Because if Lati go right back, who would you? So you want Russell to play CDM? Nah. Well, from my perspective, still, I don't know if I want Russell to play CDM. You know what I mean? I think Russell is a little slow. You know what I mean? He's a little slow. I think Latibodir is a little quicker than Russell. I don't know if I would want Russell to play CDM. And I think, Russell is good as a box-to-box for me. Like, I don't want to change him. We don't really need Latibodir in the right back position, in my opinion. I actually don't mind Limbikisa. It's just because I guess he didn't have a good half against Nigeria recently. The coach wants to get rid of him, and from right back, I would put him back in right back. He has done well in the past. He can always change it up if. Okay, it's a Gray in at the 10. Okay, so you want to have Gray in the 10, Palmer. So Gray and Palmer, Russell in the CDM, and Latibodir in at the right back. That's what you're trying to say, Chorus. Okay. All right. Okay. And then you would still have Cephas on the field at the same time. I just don't trust. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure on Latibod as what's his name, Russell, as a CDM though. But that could be. I guess that could work too. That could work. You say yes, it's sort of hard to move Russell. Yeah, because he has been doing well where he is. So that's why I'm more the one for moving. But I've never seen Russell play the CDM before. Unless I'm mistaken. Last time I've seen probably anything close to CDM was under Hallgrimson when he played that game against, was it St. Kitts? I think it was, and he scored in that game too. But I guess that is another approach, but I'm not so sure I would want to put Russell in a CDM role. Cephas is a player who can pull off an assist anytime. True. But I mean, he looked a little bit anemic in the Guatemala games with an S, both Guatemala games. But I mean, I'm a big fan of Cephas, so it would be hard for me to drop him too. I can understand that, but I just want to see a better midfield. I want to see a more stable midfield. I want to see back Palmer and Russell together. It worked in the Unity Cup. I want to see that. I want to see that back together. You're right that most teams knows that we have a midfield problem. So in this case, Jamaica would have counter by command in the middle and send ball out to Cephas. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't get it with the coach. Sometimes I'm like, if something works for you, why not just go with it? You know, Russell and Palmer worked in the midfield. They were the ones that were doing it for you in the Unity Cup, and they look good together. So I don't know, man. Like, we'll see. No defense. Where is he? Jamaica midfield and send ball out to Cephas as for right now. No defense. No defense want to. Oh, you're saying no defense want to face Cephas? Yes, but that's provided that the space is there for Cephas to run at them. Which is maybe a thing that teams are figuring out too. Cephas, if you notice, the game against Guatemala was kind of the perfect game for Cephas to run at them, but it was more on Leon Bailey's side than on Cephas's side. That pass from Damian Lowe to Leon Bailey was there a lot, but there wasn't as many passes from the defense to Cephas because Amari Bell wasn't playing that inverted left back in the way that Latabode was playing the inverted right back, which created the space. So if the space is there for Cephas to run at them, then yes, that's great. But like, no team will want to face him. But I have the space have dried up. Russell played in the number 8. His coach at Barnes puts him in number 8. Okay. Well, I mean, there are a lot of different scenarios that you can do. I guess, as somebody was saying, you can have Gray, and you can have Gray on the right. No, sorry, Bailey on the right, Gray on the left. Palmer, Russell, Latibodere as CDM, Dexter right back, Bell left back. That's one thing you can do. I guess another thing you could do is putting Latibodere at the right back, put as I said, John Russell as the CDM, Gray and Palmer as midfielders, and then put that still gives you Cephas on the left and Liam Bailey on the right. I guess you could do that too if you really want to make sure that you have Cephas and Gray on the field at all times. Personally, regardless of what it is, I believe that Casey Palmer needs to be on the field at all times. He's our best midfielder right now. Yes, chorus, I believe that Guatemala did their research on Jamaica. I genuinely believed it because they were doing that mid-press like crazy. They realized we have a midfield issue and they decided to exploit it. And if we don't get that fixed sooner rather than later, we might see this ugly problem coming up in the World Cup qualifiers again. We need to fix that once and for all. I know Isaac Hayden not being there now is a big miss. I don't know why the reason he's not there. I hear him gone back to England, you know what I mean, for club reasons. But for miss the tournament, for go back for what is it about the club that he needed to go? I mean, people are speculating that he's going there to finalize a contract with Newcastle or something like that. I don't know. That's speculation. As as far as I know, but he's a big miss right now. But if we don't fix that midfield problem, that way that Guatemala played us by giving us that mid press, forcing us to push back the ball and then going long, that's going to be exploited in the games to come in the World Cup qualifiers, which is the bigger thing. Gold Cup, boy, if Jamaica don't do good in this Gold Cup, maybe we can deal with it. Oh, Isaac Hayden injured. Okay, so it's not a club thing then. Okay, all right. So is he injured and gone back to England? Is it two of them, or is he injured and still in with the team? which So if he's injured and gone back to England, means is an injury that's not going to be you know be able to be fixed or healed by the time the tournament done. The coach said that he picked up a virus. Okay, okay. Uh, 1 second there. Yeah, so yeah, that's sad that we miss him. Very, very, very sad, because it's causing all type of midfield problems now, and it kind of funny when you say it, because I remember when we were getting Isaac Hayden, a lot of people never really like it because you know a lot of people never really like it because they have things he said before about you know him not wanting to if him even cripple or something like that, if he can't even walk on 1 foot, England and want to represent, so people got in their feelings about that, and so they never want him to come, but now he's here and we need him, like, yeah, because CDM not easy to find. Cephas is more effective playing against the high line. Yeah, yeah. Cephas can handle the low block. Yeah, because that's what I was saying. If the space is there for him to run at them, then yes. But if no space is there, because Cephas's thing, is to get the ball on the wing, turn, you know, act like he's going to cut inside, but really he's going down the left hand side, and then he run past you. And once he run past you, you can't catch him back again. I mean, it's over. Once he pushes the ball past you and get by you, it's over, right? So the Guatemala, they studied what we were doing. They studied the fact that we had a midfield issue. They studied the attacking intent down the left hand side to Cephas. And then every time Leon Bailey get the ball, they put at least two persons on him, two players on him. So it's like the psychology, and we know these are the teams. We can talk all we want about what we should do, but these other teams are kind of finding out what they need to do to break down Jamaica. They know we have a midfield problem. They know we go down the left hand side with Cephas, and they know Liam Bailey, if you double team him, he must have pushed back the ball. You can't. All they have to do is make sure that anytime Liam Bailey gets the ball, two players go on him. So that he doesn't get a one-on-one isolation. Because if he get one-on-one isolation, he might actually get something dangerous inside the box. So that's it. You put in a nice mid press against Jamaica, mess up the midfield, force the ball back in their defense. And when the wingers get it, you just don't allow Cephas down the wing and double team Leon Bailey. You mess up you mess up the attack. You mess up Jamaica's attack. They are forcing us to. They're stopping us from coming through the midfield. And the day name day when we fix the midfield, and we can the day name day will fix the midfield, and we have that as a threat. In addition to our wingers, that's the time that we will become the team that we're looking to see, where we can attack from every angle. We can go long, we can go through the midfield, we can go down Liam Bailey wing, we can go down Cephas wing. And because typically what we need to do is have our midfielders pass the ball to our forwards, and get them going. Yeah, so Isaac Hayden pick up an injury. Well, I don't know. We're in trouble where that is concerned, but hopefully with the pieces that we have, we can figure out a way to fix that. So I again, to continue, you play the position, the midfielders in the right position. We have to maintain high intensity. You know what I mean? Like, Guatemala was more intense than we were in the opening game. They stayed in our faces. We tried to be intense with them, but then we had to back off. because they refuse to back off. They refuse to back off. So the thing is, we need to make sure that we remain intense to them, and then we have to create multiple chances. I mean, we hardly created any chances in the last game. We hardly created any chances. We had 15 shots, but most of them were off target. And we have to make sure that we give chances to Warner Brown. He's running all over the field, but the poor guy never really get nothing at all. He never get no. Him couldn't control a ball. With him back, even with him back turn to goal. They were just that defiant. They were just that in our faces that we could hardly turn anywhere. Horace say, mathematically we can go through. Yes, mathematically we can go through, but we need things to happen in our favor. As I say, we need to defeat Guadeloupe by a large score line. We need Panama to lose. We need Guatemala to lose to Panama by at least 2 goals, just so that the goal difference grow in our favor. And then we have to hopefully defeat Panama. No matter what happens, we have to beat Guadeloupe or have to beat Panama in order to go through. Those 2 things must happen. And even then, it's not a surety, but at least it will give us somewhat of a opportunity. And yeah, we can go through. We need 6 points. We need the 6 points, and yeah, if other things goal difference wise go in our favor, then we haven't scored a goal as yet, and we're here talking about goal difference. But Guatemala has only scored 1 goal. We have to blow away Guadeloupe. We have to blow them away, like really rack up the scoreline so that we can do that. But we also, the coach, he needs to make in-game adjustments and make them promptly. Whenever you see things, the wheels falling off, and you need to make a change, make the change. You know what I mean? Make the change. I personally, I know so this probably people would have disagree with this, but I would have in the Guatemala game, I would have substituted Damian Lowe. And this is talking as somebody, who is a big fan of Damian Lowe, but I would have taken off Damian Lowe, put Richard King in to partner with Ethan Pinnock, even though a lot of people think they're kind of Richard King and Ethan Pinnock are too calm. They are too calm on the ball defenders. So you kind of need a good cop and a bad cop, like Ethan Pinnock being the good cop and Damian Lowe being the bad cop. That's what a lot of people believe. But I would have put Ethan Pinnock and King together, pair them together, and bring in Casey Palmer. That's what I would have done. And then let Latibodir play the CDM and bring on Dexter Lembikis to play the right back. That's what I thought needed to happen. That's what I thought needed to happen in the game. And eventually Damian Lowe ended up coming off with a injury anyway. So not that we could have foreseen it, but still, that's what I would have done. That's what I would have done. And we're going to have to depend on Richard King going forward. No, Panama will beat Guatemala. Well, I certainly hope so, and I hope they beat Guatemala by a substantial amount. But that might also mean we'll face a tougher Panamanian team in the end, or at the end of the thing. I believe that at the end of the round, maybe hopefully if Panama beats Guatemala by a good scoreline, they might just say, you know what, we stand a good chance of going through already. Let's rest our players, which they probably won't, because 6 points is not a guarantee to go through to the next round. Because if you think about it, all of the teams could end up on 6 points. Think about it. If Panama beats Guatemala, they're on 6 points. If Guatemala then goes on to beat Guadeloupe at the last game. They are also on 6 points. If Jamaica beats Guadeloupe and goes on to beat Panama, where all three teams will be on 6 points. There's a scenario where Jamaica, Guatemala, and Panama could be on 6 points each. And at that point, it's going to come down to goal difference as to who goes through. So that is why it is very important that Jamaica defeats Guadeloupe by a good substantial, a substantial amount, because that opportunity is likely not going to come against Panama. If you beat Panama, it's going to be a 1-0 or a 2-1 or something like that. But remember, Panama doesn't have to win. If Panama beats Guatemala and beats they beat Guadeloupe already. If Panama beats Guatemala, all they need is a draw against Jamaica to go through. So they don't really have to go for the win. They just have to go for the draw. We have to go for the win. If Guatemala loses to Panama and then goes on to play Guadeloupe, they're probably going to beat Guadeloupe. That's going to be 6 points. If we draw with Panama, we are out. That's a real scenario. If Panama draws with Guatemala, that leaves Panama on 4 points and Guatemala on 4 points. If we assume that Jamaica beats Guadeloupe, we will be on 3 points, Panama 4, Guatemala 4. It means then that Panama is going to be going for the win, because if they don't beat Jamaica, they're out in that final game. So there's a lot of scenarios, and it puts us against the 8 ball, because it's like, boy, we messed up by not beating Guatemala. We messed up. That's why it's a thing that Hall Grimston always says. Anytime you go in a tournament, you always want to win your first game. Win that first game, because if you don't win it, you're in the situation like what you're in with Jamaica. But again, remember, Argentina won the World Cup. They lost their first game against Saudi Arabia. They went on to win the World Cup. Is Jamaica comparable to Argentina? Definitely not. But, it's possible. Philo's vision says yes. Philo, were you referring to what I was saying about the changes that I would have made for putting instead of taking off Richard King, take off Damian Loam, leave Richard King there, bring Latibo there to play the CDM, and put on Dexter Lembekisa to play the right back? That's what I would have done. I think that's what you were saying too. Conrad Smith, bless up yourself and thanks for being here. You say we mess up the team play better than us. We mess up the team play better than us. You're saying Guatemala played better than us. Yes, you have to give credit to Guatemala, Like, you have to give credit to Guatemala. And here is where I would give credit to Guatemala. They realized that they studied how Jamaica played. They realized that we have a midfield issue. Again, if you go back and look at it, they clogged. Anytime the ball got to any other midfielder, they pressed them. They played a mid-press game. They pressed Jamaica in the middle of the field. And then whenever we sent out the ball to Liam Bailey, they double-team Liam Bailey. And I'm pretty sure one of those players were doing double duty by creating the mid-press and also double-teaming Liam Bailey. Right? So anytime Liam Bailey get the ball, they double team him, because they know if he gets a one-on-one, it's going to be problems. So they force us to play the ball back, and so that we would go long. And then sometimes after they saw us playing around the ball long enough in the back, they started to high press us. So now you saw what's his name? The goalkeeper, Andre Blake. Him started going long. He wasn't even confident playing out to the back anymore, because after the mid-press game worked, it started to high press us, so we started to have to go in long from defense. And then if they were mid-pressing us, and force the ball back, and they try to give it to Cephas, they know that all they need to do is to stop Cephas from getting by them, by the winger. Because once Cephas get by the winger, he's probably going to create a chance. You know what I mean? So they played better than us, but we messed up too. We can't, both things can be true. You know what I mean? Like, we should not have lost that game. We had no answer. We had no offensive answer to Guatemala. We couldn't create a chance. There was no opportunity. There was the shot on goal. There was none of that. So I think we definitely messed up there. Most of team was changed. Guatemala. Most of the yeah. Are you saying that the Guatemala team wasn't the same as it was in the game against Jamaica in Jamaica? Yes, it definitely was a different team. And the coach knew that was going to happen. The coach knew that it was going to be a different game. He said it himself. So, where did we go? Okay, yeah, he knew that himself. He knew that it was going to be a different Guatemala team, and probably should have anticipated that. But I think he went in with the same style because it worked the last time. He went in with the same style, but they caught us. They caught us on the back foot. They didn't. We went in thinking that we were just going to use the same strategy to beat them, and that was going to work. And we found out very early that wasn't going to work, and we couldn't adjust. And that's kind of where I blame the coach. All right, fine, you're going with the same strategy from in Jamaica. One would say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it worked in Jamaica, come back with it again. Even though you know that they saw what you did in Jamaica, they're not going to come back and allow you to do that to them here in the Gold Cup. So maybe, okay, in your mind, you're saying, let me go with the same strategy and see if that works. But he changed a lot, though. Damian Lowe wasn't playing the stadium at that time. And the personnel matters. I know he was going with the same strategy, but he was with a different personnel. You know what I mean? And maybe it should have been Latibo there, but who knows? I mean, he went with the same strategy. Guatemala saw what we were doing and decided that they were going to come up with that strategy to thwart that. When he saw the coach, when he saw that strategy, that they figured out that strategy, he should have started to think about adjusting that strategy now. And that is what I mean here by make in-game adjustments, but make them promptly. You have to do it quickly, because before you know it, by the end of the game, he was throwing in Kaim Dixon. He was throwing in, all sorts of different players to try, and he was throwing in Mikel Antonio. Mikel Antonio, who hasn't kicked a ball in a long time. I'm sorry, I love Mikel Antonio, but I'm not so sure he's match fit right now. Was throwing in Romain Burrell. It was just a desperation attempt to try and save something out of the game and get something. But, it's too late at that point. And maybe it's the strategy that should have changed, and not so much the personnel. Because you were trying to go with the same strategy by using different personnel, and it probably ended up not working. They do the YG. What is the YG? What is the YG? Who don't remember his old? You mean the coach? Our team is no secret ever. Everyone know what we're going to do before the game play. Yeah, I think that is something that we don't consider. I really think that is something that we don't consider. We don't consider that teams, in the same way that we are, looking at teams and trying to figure them out. They're doing the same thing with us. They're trying to figure out our strategy and saying, again, if we don't fix that midfield problem, it's going to continue to hurt us. And look, let's look at where Jamaica is, right? Jamaica is ranked 6 in CONCACAF, behind Mexico, Canada, the United States, Panama, Costa Rica, and we are number 6, right? Everybody's waiting on Jamaica to make that transition to the next level, to take it to the next level. You know, there are more than one tiers in CONCACAF, but if you want to really look at it, you can say Mexico, USA, Canada, Panama is in one segment, with Panama being a team that is reachable. You know, you can possibly beat them, possibly knock them off. But, you know what I mean, they are in the top tier, the top 4 of CONCACAF. Then you have Costa Rica uh, and Jamaica. I mean, maybe you could even drop down Panama with Panama, Costa Rica, and Jamaica, right? You could say that. You could say that the top 3 is USA, Mexico, Canada. Then the second 3 is Panama, Costa Rica, Jamaica, you know. And then below that segment, you have teams like Honduras, Guatemala, Curacao, El Salvador. Those teams. That's a different tier. Jamaica is in that mid-tier. And I think CONCACAF is waiting for Jamaica to make the leap to being a top team. We have just been in that segment for the longest while. We've been bringing in a lot of talent. We have one of the most talented rosters in CONCACAF, but we just can't seem to make that leap, that jump where, when we meet Panama, typically we expect Panama to win, but we always know there's an outside chance that Jamaica could beat Panama, and that happened in the Nations League. You know, we know that when Jamaica faces Costa Rica, that's a even contest. Anybody could win that game. Jamaica could win it, and Costa Rica could win it. But we really want to get to the point where Jamaica meets USA. And yes, USA have the history of beating us all the time, but there's a possibility that Jamaica can defeat the USA. Same thing with Mexico, and same thing with Canada. Canada used to be where we are right now. And you saw what Canada has done. They have professionalized themselves, they've gotten quality players. I know there's a high standard set for Canada. They're expected to beat certain teams in CONCACAF now. And now, when Canada faces the US, it's not necessarily a certainty that the US is going to walk away with a victory in the way that it was in before. The same thing with Mexico. Canada versus Mexico is not a sure victory for Mexico in the way that it was before. When is Jamaica going to get to the point where we get to our program to where Canada is? We have all the tools for it. We have all the players. We don't hear any more JFF problems anymore. Players not getting paid, flight problems. None of that is happening now. The players can now focus on playing football only. And I thought that this Gold Cup was going to be the time where Jamaica moves from being the second tier team to being a top tier team and proves more consistency. But we're not seeing it. And at some point, the players have to take responsibility because, look, we have fixed, the JFF has fixed everything. The administration is no longer causing the players any problems. At least we don't hear of any issues that the players are hitting out against that the administration is causing. We're not hearing that. And the coach, you've gotten a good coach. You've gotten Steve McLaren. I think he's doing a good job with the team. But we cannot be this haphazard. Who do you blame more, the coach or the players? In some ways, I blame the coach because some of the changes that he made was questionable. And then he wasn't quick to make any tactical changes. He was too slow in making tactical changes. Yeah, people. Just give me 1 second. I just make a thing. Yeah. So I was yeah. So I was looking for Jamaica to make that improvement and make that leap. And we can't blame the administration. No, we got Steve McLaren. Maybe he was the issue. Maybe he made some tactical or some tactical errors in changes that he made on the day of the game. But I mean, the players have to take some responsibility too. Antonio, come on and play good. Okay. I mean, I'll take that, but you know, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. The coach play politics. He just need to pick the best players. Don't worry about the locals. They will come around when we start winning. Yeah. So you think that the coach is trying to do that balance dance, that balance where you have the enough local players in addition to the English based players, and trying to appease the public, so to speak. Um, you know, yeah, quite possible. And just pick the best players. Yeah, pick the right player them at all time. Sanjay Brooks, bless up yourself. Thanks for being here. You're not so sure we will get through. Why not? Why don't you think so? What do you think? What do you think will happen? What do you think will happen in it? I am hoping that Jamaica will defeat Guatemala. Sorry, will defeat Guadeloupe by a large margin, and then try and get by Panama. If it's even a short scoreline like a 1-0, a 2-1, something like that. Whereas you know whereas Guatemala, I think that they will lose to Panama, or hopefully lose to Panama, and I guess, yeah, hopefully they will lose to Panama, and then give us a chance. Give us a chance to get through. Say, I'll be at the Panama game. Okay, for real, nice. Our best hope is that Panama. Oh, because Panama will be playing in Austin. Our best hope is that Panama thrones Guadeloupe and rescue players for the game against us. Hopefully, the boys step up significantly. Yes, that's who I Panama thrones Guatemala. You worried too. Everybody worried because we mess it up. We mess up the thing, bridging. We shouldn't lose. We shouldn't lose the first game day. Anyway, I'm gonna post a link. If anybody wants to come up and give your thoughts, um, be my guest. So yeah, if you want to come up and give your thoughts and what you think needs to happen or how you think the game will go, or this tournament will go, feel free to come in or come up and give your thoughts. But as I said before, I am hoping for a miracle, so to speak. Sanjay Brooks says, should not have lost the game versus Guatemala. A draw would have been a quick. Yeah, more than they take the draw. I would have taken the draw, um, because at least that gives us a fighting chance of going through. But losing it was just plain out insane, man. Oh, you think Antonio will start against Panama? You think he'll need to start? So it seemed like everybody kind of think that Antonio is ready. So would you start him over Warner Brown? What about Guadeloupe? What about Guadeloupe? Who do you think needs to start? Do you think we still need to go with Warner Brown at the starting role, or Antonio? A lot of both Conrad Smith, and Sanjay Brooks look like they like how Antonio was playing, and you know, should we go with him for the Guadeloupe game? You know, Warner Brown never even really get to touch the ball against Guatemala. It was kind of sad. After having such a good game against Guatemala in the game in Kingston. You know what I mean? You start Brown, but bring on Antonio. Or where does that leave Romain Barrel? You know, where does that leave Romain Barrel? You know, I think the coach needs to set up better versus Guadeloupe with Warner Brown. Give Antonio 30 minutes. Okay. So bring on Antonio and give him a little bit more minutes, make him kind of get fit into the game, blood him into the game gently. Yeah, well, I mean, look, anybody that can give us an advantage, I am all for it. I am all for it. New Media 876 say him just score two us goal. Why you call good game? You mean Warner Brown score two us goal? So that is what we need. We need people who go hustle for score. I mean, that's how Mikel Antonio became Mikel Antonio. Mikel Antonio became, he was known as the man who fight for scraps and score that when he was playing at West Ham. That's what my name David Moyes wanted from him. Him fight for scraps and then him score. Is it? So if hustling is white tech for do it, then I'm all for it. Sanjay Brooks said, for all Panama will play us, we'll need Antonio's presence and know how. Okay, so you talk about the experience, like. But Brando say he's going with Antonio for Guadeloupe. Wow. You're going with Antonio for Guadeloupe. Why, Brando? Why Antonio? Is it because of the experience? Is it because you don't believe Warner Brown can do it? And is it because Romain Barrel is not ready either? Would you not go with Warner Brown and go with Romain Barrel? What if the coach started two forwards too? What if he went with a 4-4-2? Cause those are formations. I noticed this coach doesn't play. He doesn't do the 4-4-2. He looks like he's more of a 4-3-3 type of coach. Which I believe is Jamaica's good formation. So he does that a lot. But working Antonio. New Media say Brown don't add nothing to the team. If I'm lucky, maybe him score. But if he don't score, what else him offer? Nothing. Well, I don't believe that though, cause Warner Brown I think he played well against Guatemala in the game in Kingston. I saw he made we're even making passes, but he was hustling the players off the ball too. He won some tackles, and made some passes and put the Guatemalan defense under pressure. He high pressed the Guatemala defense, which is what they did to us in the World Cup game. If you really look at it, Guatemala was mainly mid pressing us, but when they saw that we were sitting back, and I'm talking mostly about the first half, because the second half was better. But in the first half, they were mid pressing us, and then they actually, when they saw that we were backing off and playing the ball around the back, they high pressed us, and then we went long. So that's what Warner Brown does. He high presses them and he goes hard too. So I don't think, I wouldn't be opposed to giving somebody else a look in, but is that person Antonio or should it be Ramon Burrell? You know, Sanjay Brooks say you could see how much Antonio help us play against Guatemala. Imagine if Antonio played 20 minutes. I think we'd have gotten something from that game. Panama is very similar, if not better than Guatemala. So that's your okay. So that's your logic behind it, because we'll play Panama will play a similar style that Guatemala played, and Mikel Antonio actually gave us some production when he came on. Yeah. So I hear what you're saying, Sanjay Bruce. You're saying start Warner Brown, but give Mikel Antonio more minutes so that he could, you can get him blooded. And maybe, just maybe, he might play himself into the starting role, because we definitely need some spark up front. We need some spark up front. Experience, fear factor, look good for his last spell. All right, so everybody's kind of saying that Antonio is needed. His experience and how he's looking good. Conrad's been saying Antonio, Andre Baker, and everyone in relation to in relation to work them in. I don't know. Clarify that, the Conrad's. I'm not so sure. You mean to say, well, it showed in the last game. Brown limited. All him do is run like a headless chicken. Not one shot, zero. Look, well, yeah. It never going with not the last game. That's you know what I mean. That's goes without saying. But that's also because there wasn't really anything in midfield helping the ones up front, because every ball he challenged for was a ball that was long to him. You know what I mean? There wasn't anything coming out of the midfield. And it's not only Warner Brown alone. Demari Gray never touched the ball for the first 20 minutes of the game. Ramon Burrell, I don't think he touched the ball, even though he came on. There was really nothing coming from the midfield to the forward players. So even though that might be true about Warner Brown, I don't know if you can really fault him for that, because never did really come from the defensive, the midfield. There was nothing coming out of midfield for them. Antonio Blake and any 9. Antonio and Blake and any 9. That you say. All right. I wouldn't be mad at a Brown start though. I appreciate Antonio's whole of link-up play as well. He will find the ball. Find the ball also compared to Brown. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I agree with what Sanjay Brooks was saying. Go with Warner Brown, starting him, but maybe you can give Antonio more minutes, more than the few minutes that he got. Maybe a 30-minute might be good. Cephas can't pass the 7. Yeah, Cephas, everybody game they get them. As may I say, Guatemala did their homework on us. They do them homework power. There's no doubt about that. They know what Cephas is capable of, and they did what they needed to do to keep him in check. You know what I mean? They did what they needed to do to keep him in check. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. Antonio didn't look fully fit though. He demonstrated his commitment to the team. He's very effective versus Central American teams. Just check his record for Jamaica. Okay. Yeah, so that's why I'm going to go with a start with Andre Blake. With Mikel Antonio. It wouldn't start him. I would give him a few more minutes. I agree with that. But in terms of starting him, I'm not sure his body is at that place where he's ready to start right now. That's how Boza and Antonio feel all these months. Yeah, bring on Antonio. Bring on Antonio at some point. I mean, I can do that, but there's I don't think he's ready to start. But yeah, but notice nobody now. nobody want to come up and give their thoughts. I mean, but in any event, whatever changes that need to be made during the game, I hope the coach will try and make them faster than he has in the past. Because when the game are done and you throw in the kitchen sink at Guatemala, by that time it's too late. You know what I mean? So we need to see more proactiveness from the coach. He needs to give players, if he wants to make an impact, if a situation like this come up again, he needs to put in players faster than he has put them in. Because that approach where you wait until the end of the game to try and salvage something, is not working. So hopefully, we'll see him call up Karai Anderson and Sule Makala. That will freshen up the midfield a little bit. So I mean, I hope that they can really add something to the squad and make us stronger going forward, because we're gonna really need it. I mean, a lot of people don't believe, say, we have an uphill task for Gochu. We have an uphill task. I believed that we really needed to do well in this Gold Cup to have as many games as possible, because if you're gonna be 3 and done, it's not gonna serve us. It doesn't look good. Like, we need more than 3 games. I was hoping we would at least go to the semi-final, which would give us 5 games, so that it give us an opportunity to gel together, and it give us some amount of success that us going into the World Cup qualifiers, because it's September now. World Cup qualifiers in September. It's just around the corner. And this is not looking good for us. If a team that we beat 6 days ago or a few days ago can just turn around and just beat us back like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think, anyway, it takes so many comments. It's a CFAS limited. You can't get on the flank pass the ball, 1 touch, 2 touch, fake cut inside, and ball are there. Bring Well, I mean, but when Cephas do get down the wing, he creates some dangerous chances. But yeah, I agree, the dimension need for change. They need to try and cut inside sometime, because it always go down the flank. So it's like, if you are a team that's studying Cephas, you're gonna know, say, his thing is that he's going to try and, fake you like he's going inside, but he's really going down outside and then cross it in. If you can, psych him out with that, then you get him. Yeah, Joker coach. He gonna feel it soon. Yeah, 3 and done. But if it's going to be 3 and done, it's not going to serve us, because, like, as much as I think we have a really good chance of qualifying for the World Cup, I mean, we have Bermuda, Curacao, and Trinidad. I mean, Curacao can hurt us. You know what I mean? Curacao can hurt us in the same way where Guatemala hurt us. I don't think Guatemala, if they're even a better team than Curacao, they are not a significantly better team than Curacao. So if Guatemala can do what they did, if Curacao, if Guatemala can do what they did to us, then Curacao possibly can do it too. So we'll have to watch that. You know what I mean? Our mentality now, we have to, blow away Guadeloupe, as I said, and then Panama will have to actually, we have to beat them. We have to beat them. We have to pull off a quote-unquote upset. The coach to our God, Earth. The coach to our God, Earth, you pick a team with 2 midfielders. 1 CD and make it make sense. Eden is the other midfield. Yeah. 2 midfielders. Yeah. Input 2 midfielders and put a defender as the CDM. I never did like that at all. I think here's the thing. You see, Damian Lowe did a job for us against Canada that qualified us for the Nations League. Damian Lowe did a job for us against Canada that qualified us for the Nation League in a time that we needed heart and and bravery and all of that. And he did a good job, but Damian Lowe is not a CDM. He's not a CDM. I mean, he did a job for us in Canada and it worked at that time, but that cannot be the standard moving forward, you know. And if it is that Isaac Hayden is the standard, then we go with Isaac Hayden. And if Isaac Hayden is not available, we go to with Joel Latibeaudiere. That's my thing. Go with Joel Latibeaudiere because, like, you have to put somebody who is a specialist in the position. Because Damian Lowe is a very hard tackler. You know what I mean? Damian Lowe could have get a if you watch the Guatemala game, the first tackling make, that could have been a yellow card. It's just because the referee was lenient. And then eventually ended up getting a yellow card. So, you know, Damian Lowe is not the CDM. I think we should just put that away, you know. Sanjay Brooks, he said, you think Karai Anderson, Suleiman McCullough will add value? First to go through. I like how McCullough played. Last time he missed some chances, but the flow of the game was good with him in the sixth. Is that question saying that you don't think he will add any value? You know, Brooks. Sule McCullough, yes, he played good. He made one bad pass to Richard King, which turned out to be a goal, and then everybody kind of write him off after that. But up until that point, he was decent. You know what I mean? Up until that point, he was decent, Sule McCullough. So I think he cannot add value to it. I don't know if that I would throw him into the game right now. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather go with Joel Latibeaudiere at CDM and put Dexter Lembekisa in right back. And then if you want to bloody in Sule McCullough, you can always then take off Dexter, put Latibeaudiere in right back, and then make Sule play the CDM. So, I mean, maybe you can do that. I think Karai Anderson comes in to freshen up the midfield if you need to change anything with Casey Palmer. But I don't think any of these players come in as starting players, in my opinion. First responder, bless up yourself and thanks for being here. You say, bro, all who the coach call up now get in the game. You know, believes that Sule McCullough and Karai Anderson will get in the game. I believe Karai Anderson can freshen up the midfield, as I said. Like, if I don't think any of them starts. I do agree with you. I don't think they start, but any of them start. But I think they can play a role in terms of freshening up the midfield when needs be. Bro, they both don't work. Lati is not a specialist. All right, Reggae Boyz Nation, big up yourself. Thanks for being here. Who would you put in the CDM role? Latibeaudiere might not be a specialist CDM, but he's the closest thing that we have as a specialist in that area. That's what I mean by that. I know that his position is really a right back, but he has not been playing right back for us a lot. He has mostly been playing CDM since Hallgrimson has been here up until now. He has mostly been playing CDM. So who would you put as the CDM if not Latibeaudiere? Conrad say, everyone can hurt us. We need to get that. No one going to play nice. They're going to play for their life. Yeah. Anytime anybody come up against Jamaica, you know, it's just going to be that. Everybody's going to bring their A game. So if we are a farm fool and come out and think we just go, you know, the Guatemala game should prove to us that we are not just going to show up and win. That's not how it works. Just because you're ranked higher than that team doesn't mean that you're just going to show up and you're going to get the 3 points. You're going to have to work for it. And that we have to remember that going into the World Cup qualifiers too. You're not going to just show up against Curacao and get 3 points, or show up against Trinidad and Tobago and get 3 points. You're going to have to earn it. Yes, you might be ranked higher than them, but you have to earn it. New Media said, Gordon, Manningsman, Simon, all of them to leave the team At them, I tell the coach about low. I see them. Me not know about that still. I mean, me not know about maybe Miran Garden, but me not think Manning's. Me don't know. Me not think Manning's gonna Simon and tell them that. But that low thing there, in can't play CDM. He shouldn't be in the CDM. He's a good defender, but he shouldn't be in the CDM. It's the easiest game. This is the easiest time to go World Cup. A lot of these teams thinking that. Yes, good point, Conrad Smith. Because just as much as Jamaica is thinking, okay, we're in a group with Trinidad, Bermuda, Curacao. Oh my God, this is such a great group for us. It's an easy group. That's exactly what they're thinking too. Bermuda probably say we couldn't have gotten an easier group. Same thing with Trinidad and same thing with Curacao. Because our group is an all Caribbean team group. There are no no Central American teams in it, which the Central American teams can be the most trickiest at times. You know, the Caribbean, we are thinking as Jamaica that, yeah, we are the kings of the Caribbeans. We're the number one team in the Caribbean, which we are. So this should be a cakewalk for us. That might not be the case. That might not be the case. You saw what happened to Guatemala. If you don't bring your A game on the day, that, yeah. You mean that said too much aiding or play, the team look like rubbish. We need a next CDM. Janeria Johnson. Janeria should be in the team. Yeah, we have a midfield problem. We have a CDM problem, and Isaac Hayden going home because an injury for whatever reason is definitely hurting us. Definitely hurting us, man. Sanjay Brooks said the coach did a poor job picking the squad. How can you pick a team with no backup number 6? Yeah. That's a good point. The whole 60-man squad that he picked, you know what I mean? I really only one specialist CDM you have, and that was Isaac Hayden. Who is next in line? Joel Latimer there is a makeshift CDM. Sule McCullough is a CDM, but clearly nobody really trusts. I think maybe because he's a local player, the trust is not there. But you're right. There's I guess Sule McCullough would be the number 6, the backup number 6, but they bring him to the Gold Cup. So maybe you're talking the Gold Cup squad. He didn't bring a backup 6 in the Gold Cup squad. True. And now he's sending for a 6, which is Sule McCullough. So, busy them already. You can't force them in the team. Yeah. By the way, I noticed Busy Atkinson was named as a midfielder for the Gold Cup squad. Busy Atkinson is not a midfielder. So I don't know if that was a mistake or what, but he's not a midfielder. Brooks said, I'd put McCullough straight back in. So you'd put McCullough straight in the CDM. You wouldn't even bother putting Latimer there. Is that what you're saying, Brooks? The only local player for in the team is a King. Well, yeah, everybody have one big up yourself. Thanks for being here. Say, big up Conrad, first responder. Big up. Free Ravel. No, feel say them are gonna move past Ravel, and I don't think Ravel is coming back to the squad. I don't think so. I think this is the last of Ravel we're seeing, unless Ravel goes to a different, club, a higher ranked club, or a higher rated league. I think this is the last of Ravel we'll be seeing. I said I wanted a tough World Cup group, but after the Guatemala game, yeah. So I tell you because I remember when you said that, Brooks. I remember you said that, and I'm like, no, I don't want Honduras. I don't want Guatemala. Me will kind of take El Salvador, but if we can avoid them, we'll avoid them too. I think the group that I wanted was like Bermuda, Trinidad, and El Salvador, because I think we can, qualify out of that. But remember what happened to the under-17s in their World Cup qualifying effort? They got El Salvador to play and lost to El Salvador because El Salvador would take Jamaica was playing so well, them get El Salvador and then they messed up. So yeah, I'm glad we get the group we get to. You know what I mean? Campbell can't get the game. Why Campbell can't get the game? It's at Norman Campbell, right? I don't know why he isn't there either. I honestly, I think Norman Campbell deserves to be there over Kaheem Dixon. I know a lot of people, but Kaheem Dixon did perform good in the Unity Cup, though. I'll give him that. But based on levels, the players that play, Norman Campbell should be there. Or are you talking Tyrese Campbell, New Media? It must be Tyrese Campbell you talk. Yes, I have a big garden because I don't think man is going to tell them anything. Since the call of Karai Anderson, the only possible solution is Russell has the CDM and Karai has the 8. That's only way to progress the ball. Really? But, I mean, that might be true, but I like where Russell is. You know what I mean? He's doing an excellent job. He's doing a good job where he is. So, we don't know. Since the call of Karai Anderson, the only possible solution. Oh, read that already. I want to see a bias thing and go on. Can be better than Cephas by far. I have to put Lati in CDM. Coach my draft in. Peter Cargill. We're going to dig up Peter Cargill and put him there. Yeah, I agree with putting Lati in the CDM role though. I wouldn't just put in Sule Makala at all. Not at all. Shows backward the coach is calling up people who is not in future plans. Are you talking with Ravel? Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think the Ravel coming up was because the fans were calling for him, and I don't know. I hear that a player wasn't behaving properly in camp. It sounds like it might be Ravel. So if it is, he never did himself any favors that way either. The thing, draw a couple of games and try and upset. We are through other teams in our zone. We don't know what I said. They said the coaching system is rubbish. So when Hayden ain't there, it's a complete mess. It's a bit of a mess when he is there. If the coach put the team in sensible shape, it would not be as bad without Hayden. So what do you call sensible shape? When you say sensible shape, what do you mean by that? Define sensible shape. Because this coach plays a lot of 4-4-3, 4-3-3. That's pretty much what he does. He have the 2 wing back, the 2 center half, then him have the 3 midfielder them, the number 10, the box to box, and the CDM, and then him have the 2 winger them and the striker. And play a lot of 4-3-3. Is that what you mean by system? Well, that's the formation. Is that you mean? What do you mean when you say the system is complete rubbish? Define that. Yeah, I'm now putting Makala right away. And I think about the money. I'm not sure I'm follow what you're saying, Conrad. Lord Ravel is the best we have, Ravel and anything. Ravel need to go to a better club though. I mean, it's facts. I agree with the coach on that front. He needs to go to a better club. I personally wouldn't throw him out the window, but he needs to go to a better club. And I mean, he has, because of the midfield dilemma that Jamaica is in. If he can find himself a better club right now for the start of the new season, let's say he goes back to England and play League One. We'll take that. Play League One, and be a starting player on a League One team and try and come into. He might not be able to come into the World Cup qualifying window in September, but maybe October, November, and try and come in there because we have a midfield dilemma. And he has been the only reason why Ravel is not in the team is because he's not playing at a high enough level. That's it. That's literally it. If he can fix that, the midfield role is his. You know what I mean? It's his. Yeah. But I mean, as of now, I agree that he needs to play at a higher club. Speed of force, immediate player, the minute team over big bar, gamble, over change in mind and wait for England. I'm still young. Why? Yeah, might need to have a look at him too because you know, yeah. I'm not say Busy Atkinson. I don't think Busy Atkinson is a midfielder, but he's listed as a midfielder and the squad. Yes, they're going to be the coach soon. It seems like you have a conversation there. I see him with so the media. Yeah, so what happened? Ravel is not the answer. New media say Ravel is not the answer. Well, I only think he's not the answer because he's not playing at a high enough level. I think if he was playing at a higher level, I think he would be a great addition to the squad. But it is what it is. Big up yourself, first responder. I like where Russell is, but the coach doesn't try anything different when things aren't working. And that's the very concerning thing. I don't think Lati is the 6. In the 6 is the answer. It's negative football. So it sounds like you're implying then, Sanjay Brooks, that maybe the coach should try Russell in the 6 then. Is that what you're saying? Am I reading you correctly? You want him to try Russell in the 6 since if Hayden is not there and and Latibody is not the answer for the 6, even if Hayden is not there, then he probably should go and try John Russell in the 6. Okay. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what he does. I don't know if he will do that. I don't want to say I don't think he will do that, but I don't know if he will do that. So we'll see. Do he remembers what he plays? Who are you talking about, Conrad Smith? Bless up everyone in the comment section. Just ask if you hit the like button. If you haven't done so, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button as well. Thank you for being here. Yeah, it's not like we don't trust McCullough. If the full coach had him there all along, we wouldn't complain. Okay, so him should have bring him in long time. Yeah, as I say, McCullough is one of those players where I don't think he did, because he make one mistake, you punish him and leave him out, not put him back on the field. Kind of the way how they kind of treat Lembi Kisa. Lembi Kisa will play 100 game good, but he have one bad half, and then we don't want to use him again. Like, I'm not so sure I agree with that. So I'm glad to see back Sule McCullough. I hope he gets a chance. I just wouldn't start him. That's all I'm saying. I wouldn't start him. His club is better than the JPL. Whose club? Oh, you mean Ravel? Good point, but the court saying can't see him. The court saying can't see him enough to make up his mind about him. And I don't sure if everybody would agree that UAE, what is it, second or third division, is better than the JPL. I don't think everybody would agree with that. Some people would prefer to say Ravel at more pleasant, than in the UAE. So I see him with so honored did call for McGee. We see what I'm Ravel about. Me never did call for McGee. Maybe you're not talking about me. Still, you're just attacking general. But I certainly wasn't calling for McGee at all. I didn't see what McGee did to merit being in the team at all. So, Ravel is not McGee though. You can't compare McGee and Ravel. Ravel is a maestro. Let's be honest. Let's just call a spade a spade. Ravel is a maestro. It's just that right now he's not playing at a competitive enough league for him to move up from the league he's playing in and play international football. because he's probably going to be a step or few behind. But make no mistake about it. If Ravel was playing at least League One, in my opinion, he's in the team for me. He's in the team. I mean, a shape that any good team uses. No team in the world, in the entire world that's doing well has one holder and everybody running ahead of the ball. They run forward and the ball never comes. Okay. You're talking one holder as in like the midfield, like the number 10 being the ball handler and everybody else running in front of the. You have to define the shape what you mean. You know what I mean? Because we weren't playing through the midfield at all. So I don't know I think our intention was to go down the flanks and kind of not use the midfield. That's why the reason why Damian Lowe was in the midfield is to break up attacks through the midfield. I think that's why he was playing the stadium. That was the coach's thinking. He wanted Damian Lowe in the midfield so that if Guatemala comes through the middle, he's there to break up play. But I think Jamaica's intention was to go down the flanks and attack. Yes, Demarai Gray was there to handle the ball and make some passes too, but I still think the main intention was to go down the flanks. You know what I mean? That's what I think the intention was. So I don't know. When you say shape, are you talking formation? When you say shape and system, are you talking formation? Are you talking intention? What they were intending to do? I think Jamaica's intention was to use the flanks to attack, and then sometimes come through the middle with Demarai Gray. Because if you notice, he was trying to get people in the box, including John Russell and Warner Brown, who are the ones who have been scoring in recent times. But to use Cephas to run down the flank and boom, and to same thing with Liam Bailey. So you have to define when you say system and shape, do you mean formation or intention? What they intend to do. All right. So different rules for Ravel. No, I don't bring in Ravel unless he's at a higher league. That's my stance. But I believe once he's in a higher league and playing week in, week out, bring him in. If Ravel is so good, why him not playing at a higher level? But that's what I'm saying, new media. He's not at a higher level now. So I support what the coach is doing by not bringing him in the squad. Don't bring him in or leave him out of the squad because, you know what I mean, until he gets to a higher league, like a League One and minimum, then bring him into the team, right? So I support the decision, no. But we do have a midfield dilemma as well, you know what I mean? And we need a ball handler. Demarai Gray's playing that role, no. But Demarai Gray, while he can play the role, he is not really a midfielder. If you notice, one of the issues I have with Demarai Gray as a midfielder, as a number 10, he doesn't come deep enough to collect the ball. That's a problem. Ravel does that. He does come deep and transition the ball forward. Demarai Gray doesn't come deep, and that's an issue that we had in the last game. We didn't have our midfielders. Either them never get the chance to come deep enough, or when they came deep enough, the Guatemalans mid-pressed us and broke up anything that we had going on there. So, we do have a midfield dilemma. Women saying Lowe was holding, Gray was forward on the left, somewhere where he was not meant to be, and Russell was charging forward. Russell touched the ball 12 times in 95 minutes. That tells you everything. That might have been that was what was happening, but that is not what the intention was. I think the intention was to use Gray as a distributor to some extent too, and some kind of like an attacking midfielder, essentially, but you're right. He was kind of stuck over to the side where Cephas was because that's where he normally plays on left wing. You know what I mean? But he wasn't really getting the ball for the first few moments of the game. Um, yeah, Russell was kind of nowhere, nowhere to be found. The ball kind of stayed mostly in defense, and then on the second half, you saw them on the flank sometimes. But in the middle of the park, not much of it because the Guatemalans broke up play. Ravel never have no choice for do what? For playing at the league when playing. So you're saying can't play. That's a it. Like Ravel can't go above the level that he's at right now. Is that what you're saying, new media? Ravel can't go above the level when they're at right now. He has played above the level that he is right now. A lot of, the problem that Ravel has had, is typically his behavior, It's not his ability. It's not Ravel's ability that is the problem. It's his behavior that has gotten him in the situation that he is in from Manchester United days. So it's surely not his ability when you say he never have no choice. Some people say, yes, he should try actual midfielders in the midfield. Don't put defenders in the midfield because they can't handle the ball in there. Agreed, for sure, without a doubt. You know what I mean? I don't think, the Damien Lowe experiment should be the end of it. This should be the end of the Damien Lowe experiment. Every decent team has two collecting the ball from the back line. Every decent team have two. I mean, we have three. There are three midfielders, though. Any one of them can collect it. I mean, whether the CDM, whether it's the CDM, the box to box, or the attacking midfielder, the cam, right? The number 6, the number 8, and the number 10 can collect the ball, from the back line. When Ravel used to play the number 10, we don't say no, want to hear about Ravel. Not that I'm saying he should be in the team, by the way. I'm just saying when he used to play the 10, he used to come deep and collect the ball and collect it from the back line. Whether you're a 6, or 8, or a 10, you can collect the ball from the back line. I don't see why, yeah. I mean, all of them can play that role, but don't trust in the coach. Let me tell you, the coach, in my opinion, is doing an okay or a decent job. The problem is just sometimes he makes the personnel that he puts in position is problematic to me. The personnel that he puts in, the people who he chooses in the positions that he chooses. This coach plays a lot of 4-3-3 football. You know what I mean? Like the previous coach, Hal Grimson, did a lot of 4-4-2. It's the easiest, whatever. It's the easiest formation to know, and that's all he used. McLaren does a lot of 4-3-3, which I think is one of the better formations for Jamaica. I totally agree with him on that. And I totally agree with how he wants to play the football. He wants to keep possession of the ball, and he wants to dictate the pace of the game. He wants to attack you down the flank, and he wants to attack you through the middle as well, but that hasn't worked. The flank attack is working, but the middle is not. In defense, we're not too bad. We're not too bad in defense. It's just that if you really look at how the goals score, Damien Lowe was caught too high up the pitch as a CDM. He wasn't helping out the back line when that goal scored. So that was a problem. But I trust the coach, but he's just not using the right personnel sometimes. Reggae Boyz Nation said, I think when Hayden got injured, coach should have changed his formation because Hayden was the reason why it worked the first time. We don't have. Yeah, honestly, I think when we went back to because you can play the 4-3-3 and then play the inverted right back thing, which but I don't know how much I like that. When he play like Latibodir as an inverted right back, I'm not so sure I like that. But when they came back in the second half and they had the traditional setup where you have the two wing back that are actually playing like wing backs with the two center halves, and then he still had three midfielders in Gray, uh and Russell. I don't think there was a third midfielder, and then you have the two wingers, and then it kind of evened out a little bit. I think it was kind of moving more to a 4-4-2 at that point, but I don't know. We still weren't able to penetrate Guatemala, because anytime we got the ball to the midfield, they did what they needed to do, send us out on the wing, but we couldn't get anything from the wings inside. We couldn't get anything from the wings inside. Again, times. Jason Bona TV, big up yourself. Thanks for being here, man. Bless up, bless up. Yeah. Yeah, but definitely watch Jason Bona a lot. And like your breakdowns at the team. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. Hold on, I can keep going and name all the Ecuadorian teams at the top, South American leagues, European leagues, all the teams doing well after collecting. How do you play out from the back with one man? But what may I say, 1-1, I don't think we are set up in a way where we have less than two players collecting. I think what I'm saying, all three midfielders have done that before. All three midfielders are capable of collecting it from the back. You know what I mean? Are transitioning. You know what I mean? The 10 can do it, the 6 can do it, and the 8 can do it. You know what I mean? So if we are not doing it, that I don't think is a function of, unless the coach is specifically telling them to stay high up the pitch, which I'm not sure that that's the case. I think you're saying that we only using the CDM to collect the ball, but it depends on the player, because look at when Casey Palmer came on the field in the last game. He was collecting it from the back line. He was collecting it from the back line. Unless you're saying Casey Palmer was playing more of a CDM, but he was an attacking midfielder, in my opinion. That's why a lot of people them have a lot to say about Casey Palmer, and how he shouldn't be on the field and blah blah blah. Casey Palmer is one of the midfielders that I think should start. I think he should start. I think Casey Palmer with John Russell is better for us than Casey Palmer with Damari Gray. I mean, we can use Damari Gray on teams that don't press us as much. But I really think Casey Palmer is much more of a natural midfielder than Damari Gray. Damari Gray is a good ball handler, but the problem is he doesn't come short for the arm. He doesn't come deep for the ball. He doesn't come for the ball from defense. Yeah, Ravel is class, of course. I'm just not playing in the right league. Also the coach needs to start taking off Bailey, put in Harris Campbell. This coach didn't paint himself. Yeah. Good point, Sanjay Brooks. I think Bailey can take off Bailey now too, because here's the thing with Leon Bailey. Leon Bailey will be really tired, and then his body language becomes a little bit negative. You can't even the commentator was saying it. His body language becomes negative, and that impacts the game, because it's like he spent, like, Leon Bailey probably, he can give you full throttle, or good throttle 65, 70 minutes. But I think in a game like against Guatemala where we weren't getting anything, we could have put in Tyrese Campbell. I agree with that 100%. Bailey could have come off there, but he's Liam Bailey, and this coach is just like the other coach. Is just like Hallgrimson. Never wanted to take off Liam Bailey at all. You know what I mean? It's like Liam Bailey just is one of those players that once he gets onto the field, he's not going to come off. You know what I mean? But I think if you're going to bring Tyrese Campbell because of his performances at Charlton, come on, give him a chance. I agree with you. You know. Yeah. Latibodir was yeah. All right. JP players come over. Cephas and Bailey should have been subbed earlier, and Antonio and Campbell subbed in. Good point. So you would have Antonio playing the wing, dear. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, I am open to I would like to see back. I want to see back Casey Palmer in the team. I wouldn't be opposed to starting Gray as a winger because that's what he wants to do. That's what Gray wants to do. And maybe switch it up a little bit and start Gray as a winger and bring on Cephas. As much as I love Cephas. You know what I mean? Because we need a better midfield. We need a better midfield. Every good team has two players in midfield collecting the ball from the back line. So defenders have options to pass. We have one holding and everybody else running too far. So you're saying the holding midfielder, which is Damian Lowe, he's the only one collecting the ball from the back. No, 1-1. Do you think that was the strategy of the coach, that he wants only Damian Lowe to collect the ball from the back line? Or do you think the other players just didn't drop deep enough? It was the coach's instruction for them to stay up top. Is that what you're saying? Because I understand what you're saying, You're saying the CDM, the holding midfielder, is the one that is collecting the ball from the back line and transitioning in front. Where in most good teams, you have more than one players collecting it. So maybe the 6 and the 8 is the one collecting it from the back line. I'm asking if that observation that you made, is that something that the coach asked the players to do, or do you think that the players did that themselves? Because if it's the players that did that themselves, then that's just a product of how they play the role. You know what I mean? Because they can come down and collect the ball if they want. And probably should have maybe dropped a little bit deeper. I'm saying Damari Gray, he doesn't drop deep enough to get the ball. Whereas when you see players like Ravel, who plays the 10 too, when he plays the 10, he drops deep to collect the ball. You can go back and look at the games that he came on and played some cameo minutes. He dropped deep to get the ball. Damari Gray doesn't do it. So that's why I'm saying, was that the coach's instruction, or was that because of how that player played the position? Damari Gray wasn't getting the ball in the opening portion of the game against Guatemala, but he also wasn't dropping deep enough to get the ball. He was staying pretty much up top and saying, hey. And granted, there were times when he should have gotten the ball, but, he didn't. Jesse Guna TV says, if Damian Lowe actually sat in front of his backline, it would have at least worked defensively, but he kept running out of position. Yes, I agree with you, Jason Guna TV, because if you actually looked, if you look at how the goal scored against if you look at how the goal scored against us, Damian Lowe was out of position. He was too far up the pitch when that goal was scored. He wasn't back there to help out the defense. But again, Jason Guna, do you believe that was the coach's instruction for all the midfielders to sit as high as they were? Or do you think that was a function of how those players play the position? Do you think Damien Lowe being that high was a function of him playing that role that way? Or was it the coach's instruction? What do you think? I can see you're a fan of. You're a fan. You meet it. Damien don't break up nothing, just kick down people. He was embarrassing in that game. Yeah, he never played that role the best at all. Latibodier, I think, would have been better. Not to say that Latibodier is a natural midfielder, anyone, or natural CDM. I'm just saying he's the closest thing we have to a natural midfielder, to a natural CDM, I mean. But now, Sir Ravel not good, but him have other issue, and that's why the team no want to. Okay, well, if at that here said, I can understand that because, like, you know, that's the reason why he is where he is. He definitely has the talent, but he has a behavior problem. Yeah, I can. Yeah, that's the reason why he is where he is. One would say formation is one thing. 4-3-3 is fine. PSG play 4-3-3, but they have two collecting and one running ahead. It's a different person running ahead depending on how the play unfolds, but two collect. All right, fine. No, with PSG, you still not answer my question, because I see what you're trying to say. But my question to you is the way how Jamaica played that with one person collecting it. Was it because the coach tell them that? Or is it as a function of how they play that role? They decide to play it that way. Get what I'm saying? Like, did they play it that way there? I guess you could say that the coach should have it that way, where you have two collecting the ball from the back line. But again, if let's say Ravel Mars was playing in a good league, he's not playing in a good league right now, and let's say he never had the behavioral issues that he had, which he does. All right, from what we hear, I don't know because I'm not there on it, but we hear. And he was at that level. And you instead of Demara Gray having the 10 or playing the 10, you had Rafael Mars playing the 10. I'm saying you would have seen a different, a different type of collection. You would have more people collecting the ball from the back. I think the reason why you see it this way, why you see us only having one person collecting the ball, is because that's how those players play the role. I don't think that was because of the players, the coach. I mean, what they bring at you when it goes forward, one of the others can join in attack. But that's what the box to box would do. Join in with the cam. PSG at times it's 3 collecting, always play out of the back options. Yeah. Any one of them can collect it. Any one of them can be the collecting ball. Demar Gray had 22 touches and made 4 key passes. So basically, get him the ball more, and he will be more dangerous. I agree. But in the opening portion of the game, though, he wasn't getting the ball. It was probably more in the second half, or towards the latter part of the first half into the second half, he got. But yeah, Demar Gray is a dangerous player. For sure. But I think he needs to come deeper for the ball sometimes. He can't just stay up in there and, what I mean? He needs to come a little bit deeper go a little bit deeper for the ball sometimes. No. Conrad Smith. So you believe if the coach if Jamaica drops out of the Gold Cup and not go to the quarterfinal round, you believe the coach should get fired? I'm not so sure that's going to happen, and I don't think we should either, because that's just going to disrupt the whole team. I believe that this coach has the ability to qualify us for the World Cup. I will say that out loud. I believe he has the ability to qualify for us for the World Cup. I even believe that he has the ability to get Jamaica to the semi-final of the Gold Cup. Now, whether that's going to happen or not, the jury is out. We will see what happens from here on in. But I believe he has the ability to do it. I don't believe this coach is a bad coach at all. I believe that he is making some mistakes that he needs to fix. He needs to fix those mistakes before the World Cup qualifying, because if you make some of those same mistakes in the World Cup qualifying, you could see a result like what you see against Guatemala. We're a team that we are supposed to beat, that we are ranked higher than, that we have years of a track record defeating them, end up beating you. So I definitely believe that this coach, as you are seeing in the Unity Cup, the teams look good. So that's the ability part. That's the ability of this coach. He has definitely have the ability to put a good team together and win games, win football matches. And that's what you're going to need to do to qualify for the World Cup. So I don't think you sack him if he doesn't do well in this World Cup. Because in any event, what are you going to do? Bring in a brand new coach when we are right on the cusp for 6 games away from qualifying for the World Cup, and a brand new coach trying new things, learning the players, going through the whole process of getting this team ready to play World Cup qualifiers? No, I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't think we should do that either. But what I would like is if he could salvage us getting to the quarterfinals of the Gold Cup, so that we have more games for us to prepare ourselves better. Because after this, we're not going to have any more games to prepare for the World Cup qualifiers. So that's what I think. We're not decent. We're not a decent team. We're not a consistent team, I would say. Ravel go MLS, Mexico, them let him go. Them have problem. No team now use him. Why would we use? I mean, that's a valid point. A valid point. I mean, obviously, if he has behavioral issues, and we heard Rudolph speak on a program and said there's a player giving problems. If it is Ravel Morrison, then I mean, that's why I said at the beginning of the program, I say I said this might be the last we see of Ravel Morrison. It might be. We might never see back Ravel Morrison in this team again, because if he wasn't even called in the first place and came and then was giving problems, then we might not see him back again, especially if he can't get himself up in a better league. It's a systematic problem. Russell never had that under any other coach. Every time we play two-man run forward, that is the system, headless chicken system. All right. I mean, we don't know, yeah, you call it headless chicken system, but I don't know. What I mean is, what you see, what do you think Jamaica's philosophy on attack is, or this coach's philosophy on attack is? What do you think he's trying to do? When he gets the ball, because for me, when he gets the ball and Jamaica has possession of the ball, he wants to attack down the flanks and cross the ball inside, whether underground or in the air, for a shot at goal. That's what I think this coach wants to do. He wants to use Ronaldo Cephas and Liam Bailey. Occasionally, he wants to go through the middle with Damari Gray, who is a ball handler and can take on players and create problems in the midfield and make passes to people like Warner Brown or whosoever else is up there. But essentially, he wants to go down the flank. That's what I think. And that is what I mean by a system. That's the system he wants to do. And 4-3-3 is good for that. But what do you think he wants to do when you see he plays? Can we talk about how Amara Bell was bullied? They built their game plan around frustrating Cephas and Bailey. Facts. Why not take them off and put on different players? Game changed when Antonio went over there. That might be true about Antonio, but I mean, would I love to see more minutes with Antonio for kind of assess how he can impact the game. Yes, they frustrated Amari Bell, but I can't say Amari Bell was the only player that was bullied. They were up in our faces the whole time. They came out more intense than we were, because we came out a little intense too. We were also intense. We were just not able to maintain the level of intensity that they were. And then when we got the ball, we were so intense that we weren't even making good passes. This is at the beginning of the game I'm talking about. I mean, the game went on, we got a little bit better. But in the beginning of the game is where Guatemala flustered us, and we really never got settled until they scored on us. We never really got settled until they scored on us. So, yeah, they built the game plan. As I was saying earlier with Cephas, everybody knows what Cephas is going to do now. He's going to fake like he's going to cut inside, but he's really going to go on the outside and then try and cross in. And once he gets past you, you're cooked. That's a good thing. Once Cephas gets past you, you're not catching him back. He's going to make that cross, you know. But they did their homework on Cephas and stopped him from going down. He only got down the left wing on a decent run to make any impact once. You know, he made a decent impact one time when he went down the left wing. And with Bailey, all you have to do is double team Bailey, because we know what Bailey is going to do. He's going to twist and turn and all of that. So put two players on him, and one of the two players is one that's also doing the mid press with maybe the wing back. Just double team Bailey, and he's ineffective. So now you have to go over the top, and you know when you go over the top, it's a 50-50. But Amari Bell was bullied, but I think he was one of the players I think stood up to the challenge. You know, yeah. Antonio went on too late. He should have come on a little bit earlier. You know, so if you trust, well, and maybe he didn't know the coach. He probably never even intended to use Antonio. If we were winning the game, would he have used Antonio? I'm not sure. So if you trust the coach and he's not using the right personnel, will you trust him when he get better personnel in September? Surely he can't mess up winning. That must be a sarcastic question. Surely he can't mess up winning this World Cup group, right? Yeah, we see the sarcasm in this one. But so maybe address this, right? He's not choosing the right personnel, but that can be fixed. That's what. So I don't trust him choosing the right personnel, but hopefully him can get out of the stubbornness and actually fix the choices that he makes in terms of the personnel. Just go with what works. It's simple. It's not rocket science. You did what you did in the Unity Cup. Use that as your template, or as your as your template to go forward. And if changes need to be made, you have to have a plan B in terms of strategy. That's one of the things then that I don't think this coach that I think he needs to fix too. He needs to have a plan B strategy. It can't be play the inverted right back all the time, and so that it creates space so that he can make that long pass and all of that. You might have to go traditional wing backs sometimes too, and play a regular, come through the midfield, use the number 10 as the attacking midfielder, can spray it out to the left or to the right, or come down the middle. You might have to do that traditional approach as well. So, but I think he can fix those things. That might just come down to him, not being as stubborn as he has been in terms of making those changes or fixing those things. Will I trust him when he get better personnel in September? Well, if he gets specialists in each role, then the more talent you have should make the team better. So that's a good question. I mean, that's a question I can't answer right now, because you have to see him in the situation for make that, for make that decision, or that, come to that conclusion. And surely he can't mess up winning this World Cup group. Better not. That's all I'm going to say. Better not do that, because that is not, that's too easy for us. technically to mess up. So that shouldn't happen. We need an next CD and we need at least 2 players in every position on the field. Agreed, agreed. Bless up yourself, Jason Guna. Thanks for being here. Cataract, or you need Blake. Cataract, the only guy checking. Bless up, bless up. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. Jamaica played a bad game collectively. Let's reset and focus for the next 2 games. I agree. I agree. But what do you guys think about what needs to happen? What I set out here that needs to happen. I mean, there are many different ways that this can happen, that we can get there to the next round. And I want us to get here. But here's the thing. It's not that I don't believe Demari came up as a PSA twinkle to his winner. I think that is what he wants to play. I think Demari Gray wants really to play the wing. I like the whole number 10 role, but we don't have another person that can play that number 10 role, so it has to be him. But here's the thing, Cataract. My thing is this: the approach that we took towards Guatemala might have been a little bit of overconfidence. I think, you know what I mean. It's not that we didn't come out intense, but I think we thought psychologically that we could have gotten by them in the same way that we got by them in Jamaica. We came with the same strategy, and it didn't seem like we had an alternate plan to the original plan. Original plan was to go in and do the same thing like what we did in Jamaica. But we forget that Guatemala would have gone back and watched that tape of how they lost to us in Jamaica and would have made their adjustments. And some of the clear-cut adjustments that I saw that they made, they stifled Cephas on the left. They made sure he didn't get down the wing and cross. And that's probably something that they studied a long time ago and knew that about Cephas. Liam Bailey, they double team him on the right hand side. And then anytime the ball got to the middle of the field, they pressed. They had a mid press and break up everything there. So they had a plan for everything that we threw at them. And then we started to go over the top. And then again, when you go over the top, it's 50-50 whether you win the ball or not. If we win it, fine. If not, they get to clear the ball. You know, the second half was a little bit better because we went back the traditional wing and not the inverted wing that we tend to want to do, which works sometimes, but, you know, clearly wasn't working. It worked in Jamaica, but it didn't work in America. And when we decided to go a more traditional route, they were able to pick off anything that we were trying to do offensively. We didn't have we couldn't come up with anything, you know, offensively to break them down. So it was what it was. So people asking if you think the coach can make us to the World Cup, I think he can. I personally think he can. I just think that we need a longer tournament to fix the thing. Get her, go on the panel, let us know. Yeah, if you want to come up, by the way, you know, I will drop the link again. Notice nobody never come up the last time, but if you want to come up, I will drop the link right here and be my guest if you have something to say. All right. Philos Exchange says, both on paper and the squad that we use at the Unity Cup, Jamaica has the best and most talented team to move forward. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But as we say, football don't play on paper. Because we have a better team than Guatemala. We weren't able to. Technically, if the coach did the right thing and the team show up with intensity, we have to play with intensity. Because these teams are not coming to play. They're not joking around. They are not coming especially with the World Cup coming on. Everybody think this is a great group for Jamaica. All those other teams think the same thing as well. They see this as an opportunity in the same for them, in the same way that we see it as an opportunity for us. You know, believe. I believe, man. I believe. Trees all and Janira Johnson should have been included in the Gold Cup. Would have been nice to see another specialist midfielder for sure. New media say we play good from the back. The problem is low. We play good when we have the ball in the back, but like anyway, we play good from the back. The problem is low in the stadium. Low, I know Aiden and Gray and Ross play high. We need a stadium. Yeah, yeah. I think the midfielders need to come back. Collect the ball a little bit. Lower up. Lower in the field. Big up everyone in the comment section. Barely try, but them double team him. And by the way, as I said about Leon Bailey, I am still waiting for him to be the Leon Bailey that we saw at Bayer Leverkusen. Right? All right, let's see somebody come up. Shower curtain, boss. Bless up. Walk on.
Bless up, great one. Where are you?
The boat. So what do you have to say about what we've been discussing?
We have a whole heap of thing.
Yeah, man, make you hear what you have to say.
We have a whole heap of thing. So first thing first, I think where do I start? All right. The first things first. I think there's a problem in terms of the administration based on what I've been observing. See?
Mm-hmm.
So one, I think the administration, the powers that be, are hiring persons who they possibly can control some way somehow. And it's evident in terms of certain things that have transpired, during the coach's tenure. So, for example, the quota system, it's obvious that there's a lot of influence from administration with this quota system thing, and the coaches that are selected to guide the team seem to don't have a wholesome say in terms of selection. Them come say things here and there, like them have the full authority to select who them want, but the eye test is saying otherwise. See?
Mm.
So that's a one. Right? No, two, I think the only coach the only coach who was willing to stand up for himself, right, has been Al Grimson. I think the rest of coach definitely been puppets, and it's evident. The eye test said that, right? And then now the coach here now. Me can't understand. Me can't understand the operation of the coach, or even the coach philosophy for the team, or when we have for the team. So there's a whole heap of issues, right, we surround this team. No. When you hear this coach talk, because we have to work with the issues at hand, right? When you hear this coach talk, right, him say some things, then him action says otherwise. Right? And we can go examples by examples. All right. First example, the coach said him like creative players, right?
Mm.
He make examples of Ravel and Maggie. Right? No. Maggie was being called for by persons in the diaspora, right? Social media personals, YouTubers. at the time based on his performance. Him
Yeah.
get him opportunity. I think the first game he took it well, and then after that, when pressure he pile up, we realize him can't really manage. Then,
All right.
so that a one. Then now we got to Ravel now, right? Where the coach say him know Ravel, him know Ravel, him know the quality of Ravel and all of that, right? Then we have a match in the US. I think that was the match against USA, right? I was short one player. You call Ravel at that time when Ravel just reached a Saudi, not the Saudi, the league when they right, the league when you just call him from the UAE when just go and they really that play much, right?
Yeah.
So we assume same have look of fitness. You call another US game, they never give him the game, right? Yet still you say you know him ability. See? Fast forward to selection now. See? We reach a 60-man squad. See? When you look in that 60-man squad, you realize Ravel missing. See?
Mm.
Ravel missing out of the 60-man squad. At that time, I know Ravel would have been putting in some work from the time when he gets selected in the US match him never play to that 60-man squad the period, and would have had some more impact on him team, right? Meaning in terms of assists and goals. No, yeah, we can cuss say the league is this and the league is that and the league this and the league that. See?
Mm.
But we know Ravel quality and we know say just fitness him need, right?
Mm.
Then in a 60-man squad, you want to tell me, say no. With them creative element the way the coach say him like. Ravel is missing out of a 60-man squad. You want to tell me that at least 15 JPL players is better than Ravel to be in that 60-man squad and Ravel not to be in it as a creative element where you say previously that you like Ravel and you know and Maggie type players, you know.
Mm.
And Ravel couldn't make a 60-man squad. That doesn't make no sense. Then
Yeah, but I think one of the issues with Ravel was what people are saying is his behavior. Even though the coach did say that it was really because he wasn't playing in a high enough league, to why he never included him in the 60-man squad, which what I mean, like I kind of tend for one to agree with him about the quality of the league, but on the other hand, because of his history, the way how he plays, the way how he has played for Jamaica, and the fact that we do have a midfield issue
yeah.
that it could be considered. It would be nice. Honestly, I'm looking at the team now, and if he was on our bench, I mean, I would feel a little bit more comfortable because we do really need somebody.
True. As me saying, we just that try bring out some part. We don't really want chest pan Ravel team, but we just that show you so the coach say some things and then we just that make some examples. And Ravel is one of them, right? And then you find the coach kind of weak because buckle under pressure and call Ravel for the Unity Cup. You know? Him call even a player, him call a Brandon Cover who is not in a 60-man squad. So that means you would rather see these guys who are not in your 60-man squad than seeing guys in a 60-man squad. That doesn't spell full authority or confidence, bro. That that alone says something. True or false? If you can call players outside of your 60-man squad that you said you wholesomely select, right?
Yeah.
And you think these guys are better than who did not make the cut, right? Why did you call two other players outside of your 60-man squad to look at?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, clearly it was because of the fan pressure. Why?
Good. Somebody just show you the flip-flopping and flip-flopping. I just points me and make out. No.
But, yeah.
You call a mother seal, right? A young mother seal with a farm, right? You call mother seal for the Unity Cup and whatever you want to say, the youth take some time and him did it on him vacay and him come for the Unity Cup and you did short, you put him on the bench and him play, right? Then now we reach at one point. We reach at one point now where you have an interview with Sportsmax, and you were asked about Madasil, and you said Madasil is on his vacation and we and you ramble about the Unity Cup thing come out or him coming at the Unity Cup squad and he's on vacation and he will definitely be added. Are you saying this one will be assuming? And then you are saying that he will be added he will definitely be in the Gold Cup squad. Fast forward to Gold Cup squad. Madasil is not in it. How that could possibly make sense. Then you go on to say, Mikel Antonio back you up and tell her that you're going to have to put him in the squad. And you're using that excuse and then have a Mikel Antonio who has been out and then try to justify not having a Shaman Nicholson. Not justifying that Shaman Nicholson. Not justifying that. Not justifying that Shaman Nicholson should be in the team because he's not on farm. But your Mikel Antonio reason as to why Mikel is in and Shaman is out just doesn't add up, bro.
I agree. Him say some things were kind of contradictory.
You follow me? Some of us show you the problem, then I show you the administration, then we reach to the coach, and we just pinpoint some things and I share. So the coach just show say, yo, something is wrong. Like, steady, bro.
So you believe, say, the administration is causing him to be contradictory, or in
It's a mix. I believe it's a mixture. Okay. I honestly believe it's a mixture. I honestly believe it's a mixture, right? It's a mixture. But the coach not stable, bro. The coach says something and then do something else. See? Then now, we reaching our Gold Cup squad now, bro. Come on now. And you want to tell me that you only bring 3 natural midfielder, bro, and have be a makeshift man in the team and left out some man that they on farm, but they literally fit and they on farm, bro. And some man that they on farm can't get in a game. That is crazy, bro. That don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Right, my boss?
So, because a lot of people have said that the reason why that is because he has to have some JPL players in the squad. And the one them where you're right, like Madazil, even a Tyrese Campbell, we haven't seen him as yet.
What if you follow me, I say, bro?
Yeah.
You're short in midfield and your midfield are your weakest point, bro. Right? And you keep flip-flopping, bro, and you come and you bring only 3 natural midfielders, bro. When we have a start, we had a start in the Unity Cup where we see natural players are playing them role, and yes, we can say them never all that, but they looked far more comfortable than the makeshift ones. If you look on the makeshift ones in Damian Lowe and the Demarai Gray where you're forcing to put on to make Demarai Gray play, you see that he was not fully comfortable, bro.
Right.
Lowe was not fully comfortable as compared to a Casey Palmer and a Russell and a Hayden who, though we're not going to say them are the world beaters, but they look far more comfortable because they're in their natural habitat, bro.
Right. And that is what media say. That's why me say the midfield that they use in the Unity Cup, which is Russell and Palmer, which are natural midfielders. And he had Hayden at that time. Hayden is injured now. That are the best route for go. But now he, as you're rightly saying, put in Gray and had Damian Lowe they play in the CDM. First of all, what would you do? Now that Lowe is injured, it doesn't look like he's gonna do it. Who would you put in for the CDM? Given who we have right now.
Me that try King in there. I honestly think I've watched King played CDM for Cavaliers few times. I think King's composure on the ball and his ability. If you notice him play some of the time when I play centre back, when him have the space, him like to move into the spaces. You watch him, come watch him playing for Cavaliers. I watch Cavaliers a lot, so. And when him do have the space, he will move up in the midfield and like it's like a centre back CDM type of player who likes when he get the space and him like to pick out pass and him move into the space and him compose on the ball.
Yeah.
Understand?
Me actually said that already. A lot of people don't agree with that.
Perspective. Me rather try King there. I think King out of all the defenders, I think King and what his name and not Bernard, Rupert. I
Mhm.
think they are the two most composed defenders
Mhm.
in terms of adventurous. I think King and Lembisika are two most adventurous defenders we have. Because Lembisika will take you on, you know.
Mhm.
Lembisika one of them defender they weren't afraid to run at you and take you on, you know, and dribble and all them stuff.
Yeah,
And King
but
the next one.
you have him have one bad half, and the fans them turn against him.
Yeah.
I mean,
So so we reached down to the coach as we said about him flip flop. I'm gonna just give some examples about him flip flop. No, this man here, bro, is way behind, bro. Some archaic football philosophy this man have, bro. Then it just not gonna work, and it just keep saying some things and keep putting square pegs into round holes, and it just don't make no sense. Then now we're leading up to the Gold Cup, you know, right? We had a nice Unity Cup showing, right?
mhm.
And listen, if you check my interactions with other YouTube channels, I've been saying this from a long time, and I'm gonna continue to push this, right? I've been saying this. Other than the coach, and chemistry, I think something is fundamentally wrong with the team, bro. Right? It has nothing to do with players that much as we're thinking. To me, calling for big names is coming like you're waiting for big names to come and do the job. When with what we have, we can still do the job with what we have. Yes, the big names coming in is good, but we're making it seem as if these big players don't come in, then we can't play football the right way. When we are seeing over and over lesser teams than us, brother, move this ball around, and the only thing you can look on with them team and say, yo, them team I just need to have some quality players. But them are play, them are try to do the simple things them. We play against St. Vincent, and them are try to do the simple things them, bro. We play against Dominica Republic, and yes, them are trying to move the ball. A pass and a move, I try to do the things them, bro. And when you watch our team with all these qualities on the team, bro, it's a headache, bro.
Mhm.
It's crazy, bro. This is not just about player. No, I've been saying this over and over. The biggest problems we have, brother, is not only consistency. See, because me tell you, the coach apartheid, because if you not consistently play players in them natural role, then you can't demand much from them. True or false? What can you demand much from a centre back who is harsh and rash, not composed at the ball, not good? What can you possibly demand from him in us? We can't even cuss low.
Yeah, the decision for put him in there is the problem.
You follow what me I say?
Mhm.
Me can't even cuss grade that much because them don't put themselves there. Them don't pick themselves, bro. The coach pick them. No, the problem, the big problems we have is coaches having the players to play them natural role and keep experimenting. And we see that from back then till now. Zin? So we reach now, we have a start, right? This coach has said,
Whoa, show a curtain boss, the thing shut off. Coming like you have some something there. All right, now take him down for a while. If he come back, I make him finish what I'm saying. Can I make some good points still, you know? Show a curtain boss if you see this and you want come finish what you have to say. Do that because they make some good points. Yeah, it seemed like him there talk about some the coach and the decisions that he has been making, which is what I'm saying, is playing players out of their natural position is one of the biggest issues that I see with this coach. And the thing is, the thing is in he those things are fixable. And I don't know if Sanjay Brooks still on, but those things are fixable. But is he going to fix it? Is he going to actually do the right thing, or what we consider the right thing? I mean, obviously he's the one in the coach's role, so he's going to have to make the decision. But will he do the right thing? Will he play a CDM in a CDM and a right back in a right back, a midfielder in a midfielder? The template was there from the Unity Cup, and him kind of change it. So that's why I'm saying, and I really wanted Shower Curtain Boss to finish what I'm there for, so I'm going to ask him what he thinks about the coach moving forward, if you think he's going to be capable of making the changes that needs to be made in order to have the type of team that we want to see. Yeah, and there's a lot of things about, like, we can say Guatemala, Honduras, all of these teams that are inferior to us pass around the ball, do all of these great things, look comfortable on the ball. Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that? You know what I mean? You can see the Shower Curtain Boss. You have a lot to say on that. I was kind of, definitely hearing what you have to say. There, it started from Guatemala, playing Guatemala. We always out here talking about who in big and better leagues. That's true. Those are facts. You know what I mean? We have all of these players and nothing to show for it. I agree with you, bro. Fundamentally, we don't have a system, or a team lacks coaching. We can't keep the ball and dictate play. Yeah. Shower Curtain Boss, you come back. Yeah. Seemed like it drop off there a minute.
Yeah. So I'm saying no, right? As I was before, Zine, I was as pick up from when I left off, Zine. So me I say no, bro, Zine. The coach keep putting square pegs into round holes, Zine. And that is a problem. That is one problem we are causing a team problem. Two, the coach them, I don't think them have the testicular fortitude to stand up, to stand up on them own and hold on to what them think or what them say them do. Too much flip flop.
Who? The coach?
Yeah, man.
You don't think the coach? Okay, all right.
No, I don't think the coach. You see the flip flop business, man. You can't have firm and them type of influencer, they man, it's obvious, bro. So that apart. But put that aside, bro. We'll go to the plane and the field now, bro. I am tired, brother. Me reach one point now, where, brother. Yesterday, me a vent, and day before yesterday, bro. Me a vent pan every channel I go pan, brother. Because for the life of me, brother, me can't understand how we keep talking about players to come in, players to do this, players to come in, and how we get this, and yet still Jamaica gets better and better players as the years progress.
It's ridiculous, for real. We get better players, but we not get, we not see performances.
So Jamaica keep getting better players as the years progress. So what are we talking about? Are we waiting until a special team come before we start playing football? It just don't make no sense. No, this coach now seem like he might wait for some special player to come to bring we go World Cup after we start playing football. That is bull crap, brother. Zine, two, we need to stop this thing about this excuse about feel and football feel and feel no good and feel no this, bro. We say Jamaica feel no good, national stadium no good. US come beat you on it. We play more upon this field than USA. Sure. Mexico come beat you upon it. Cuba come draw upon it with you, bro. With a low block. Zine, Honduras, El Salvador, them come here, come beat you. Canada, them come beat you in the first leg out here, bro. Before go over there, go beat them. Come on, what we are talking about field? When other team come once in a blue moon, come play upon the field, brother, and beat you up. And we are playing more often upon it. Don't tell me about an English player. Don't come tell me, some English man play, you know. And them, yes, some English man play, how you want, I only want call it. But them English man are Jamaicans. We play in England, them are Jamaicans, see me. And then play on the field more often than any other team you come play with. So what excuse? That's foolish excuse, bro. Them both feeling a BVI, make the man them now do this and the man them now do that. Crap, brother. Me say a lower team now we go down there go dump up BVI. What are you telling me, bro? Zin, 3. Don't tell me about the players them not tell me about a gel. But done with that, you know. I've been giving it some time and me I watch and I say, all right, then gelling, yeah, we need for gel. But we've been watching the team, bro. And majority of the team been together from Algrim's time, bro. If you go as far back to top of time, all right.
Mm.
Andre Blake, Damian Lowe, Ethan Pinnock, Greg Lay, Amari Bell, Lemby Seeker. When you're looking at the middle, you talk about Bailey, Demari Gray, Shamar them. Majority of the man them, Latty Body them, been there, if not from top of time, then from Algrim's time.
Yeah.
Am I telling a lie, my boss? So
I'm
that
already
means these players would have been together from them time then. Though the systems of the coaches might be different, but these guys been playing together, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, these players have been playing together. You must know how Lati play, what is Lati's strength, what is Lati's weakness, what is Bell's weakness, what is Bell's strength. Come on, bro. That team you play together, no matter which coach come in, you must know the strength of your players, bro, as players. You must know the strength and the weakness, bro. Come on. What kind of chemistry we keep talking about? No, Algrim have them set a mania, and then Coach McLaren know come get a base from Algrim so in terms of a defensive structure where Algrim's did a work on, right? And you come and supposed to build upon that. And to be honest, bro, I see where the building pan, bro. I see where the building pan, bro. Now, to be fair to him, I mean, yes, we have been scoring goals, right? We can't take that. You understand? Especially late in some games. So we show so we have the ability, bro. We keep showing that we have the ability to do things. So why we can't do them things here consistently, bro? Stop telling me about chemistry, bro. Stop telling me about feel. I'm done with them something there now, bro.
So I mean you have a whole heap of good point where you just make for real. Like in terms of the excuses about the feel and the gelling and the chemistry and all of them things. The consistency seems to be the problem because as I was saying before, the way how this coach have set up the team to play. When they do play good, them look good. You see that in the Unity Cup and you see that against Guatemala in the stadium. Why is it then that you feel that we are not consistent enough? I don't know if you can put your finger on that.
Yeah, man. But I say it before. I've said it before, bro. But I say it before. I say it already. The coach continue with what is working. Him keep saying him not fit round peg into square holes. Cause him have to get being the first. It start from him. But they reached down to the player them yet, bro. It would start from him. All right. So let's say we've been makeshifting for all our life then, basically. Because some would have Aston gone when I get a next CDM and now Ian coming, right? So from top of time we have been makeshifting. Because we have Ravel from top of time and Johnson. And what's his name? Speedy. Basically Speedy playing that CDM role. Speedy is not a CDM. We know that from long time. A long time I watched Speedy at Georges. Speedy was a striker from Georges days. Striker. And my boy turned him in a midfield. Never Bell.
Never Bell.
And how him get turned into midfield is because him couldn't start with none of the striker them. And one of the midfielder them they drop out and then they need somebody to fill it. And because Speedy is a work hard player and him can work hard at any position where you put him in, him work hard there. Him get sub in if you go fill that role. If you go fill the midfield role. And him work well on the field. Him did a run hard. Might try to track back and do certain things and Bell and never Bell like what him see. So him just keep him in the midfield. But naturally he's not a mid CDM. So top of them did have that makeshift system there. Coming down to Algrims, right? We have the makeshift system. But we are say, all right then, be a makeshift. Lati and play CDM and Lati is a centre back. It reach a point when Lati basically I get beaten when man a call for Lati to literally come out of the team. When Lati don't put himself in a CDM. And when Lati have shown that out of all the players them we play overseas, Lati is the most fights the hardest on the field. And any man you watch Lati don't see that. So Lati literally fight the hardest on the field. Will always looks like he's the fittest person on the field.
Mm. Yeah, man. That's about there. We need him, man.
Yeah,
Especially in play more than one position well, too.
definitely.
Yeah.
So leading up, we never get a natural CDM. So we can't say, all right, then we have to a makeshift. We will try some things out here and there, like when we try low and surprise Canada. Yeah. So we've been makeshifting. No, we reach down to my client and we are expecting, all right, then some more players are coming and it's possible that we might get a natural CDM. And then we got a natural CDM, right?
Yeah.
Leading up from McLean, get the team, Aiden come in. We still let that try and makeshift, right? And I try to fit one a local thing. Do we reach at the Unity Cup? And for the first time in the Unity Cup, we play players in them natural role. Aiden I play the CDM natural role. Russell, I play the 10. I play the 8. Box to box. Russell said that I'm favorite part to box, even though he can't play hard. Palmer now get the opportunity to play the 10 and show him can do. See fast on the left, Dix up on the right. You have a my boy up top. When name Burrell up top. So you have natural players that play them natural role. And then the defense line speaks for itself. You have Lemby, you have Oldgate, you have King, and you have Bell. So for the first time in our history, we have all players. No, not the history, but for the first time in the longest while from time, we have players literally playing them natural role. Oh, did they look?
Damn good.
They look darn good. Not all that. Not perfect. Because we never get enough time with the Unity Cup. But the Unity Cup shows us a platform where we can start.
A good platform.
Right? No, we can agree say Casey walking at the game as he normally walk and him never trap back and him this and that. But he looks far more comfortable than when we had him playing box to box. When we never had a CDM and him out of place. He looks far more comfortable playing that role. Russell look good. Yeah, Russell slow. We can't say him slow and rare, but he look good playing his natural position.
And him had an attacking option too.
Definitely. And here they look good. So we had the base right there at Unity Cup to start to build on what McLaren did. We went to BVI. What McLaren did. McLaren, Aiden never did it. And McLaren start a totally different midfield trio. Now, you put two makeshift man. No, me understand say Aiden go, right? But you had a formula to work with. Zin? And you say you use low. As me say, me rather lose King this, but you say based on history, low play there already and you want low for break up place. You have to use low as your CDM. And then now, if you're a midfielder now, you break up that chemistry where Palmer and Russell did a build in the Unity Cup. Yeah. And you come here now just for forcing Gray because now CFAS seem to have been performing on the left wing now. And because you are so bent on big names giving you the results, you choose an upper left forward Palmer and break up by that chemistry there. We will have a foundation from Unity Cup to start from. You start, bench Palmer, and makeshift with Demary Gray right there. Now you tell me, can that be consistency? You're a flip-flop, brother.
That's what I answer for real.
You understand say Aiden out, but if you even put in low, Palmer should have started. Because Palmer and Russell did don't have a look band together from the Unity Cup as the foundation.
Because that means if you have the template feed, the only way
the template, brother.
If you change it, if like somebody injured or for whatever reason they can't play, that's the only way you change it, bro.
Why you change it, bro? Just to make them a great play, bro, you take out Palmer. Who wouldn't be frustrated about that?
Yeah.
See? And BVI, it shows BVI had a low block. We were not creative in shocking midfield, bro. Right? Thank God for a lucky header from Warner Brown who gave us a goal in that BVI match. Thanks to him. But we didn't create much. We create some chances, yes. But we never put them away. The chances that we create, we won't even say, And a nice play we play for create nothing. We just get some scrap and some scramble. And we shouldn't have put with them ball against a BVI, bro. And we cannot do it. So what were we expecting to do against a better opponent? I was not surprised, bro. Fast forward.
You weren't surprised?
No. Fast forward now. After that BVI performance with that midfield trio, where you mash up the template and you left out Casey, right? You move on and now, and you reach to a home match now against Guatemala. And yes, we have to beat who they in front of it. And yes, we needed a home win. So all plugs necessary need for they in place so we can win the match. And win the match we did, which is good because we needed a home win and we have to beat what they in front of it. But you come as the coach and you admitted that you know that Guatemala started rested some of their 18 players and started a B team against us. And you said yes in an interview, oh, we have to beat who's in front of us, and we did win and we needed a home win. Yes, we're happy feet. You were not prepared. You want to tell me you as the coach were not preparing to face a far better Guatemala team who you watch deal with Dominica way and prepare to have at least a plan B. You were expecting to use the same strategy. You were expecting to use the same strategy where you play a C Guatemala team with and score 3 on them. You were expecting to use that same strategy and beat a A team when the man literally show you a shade and you grab onto it.
That is what well, on the stick up in. That's one of the things them when me they are set to, because me say if you come out and say that you're not going to get the same, it's not going to be a similar game to what you're playing at the stadium, right? The strategy that you're using at the stadium, even if you go and start with it in the Gold Cup, you would have had to come up with a plan B.
Plan B, definitely.
Because they would have known. They would have known, say, yo, you're going to come back the same way again. So you have to come with, say, all right, if me start with that strategy and it don't work, me go to this. It never have that. Him just try to stick with the same strategy for the entire game. And then it didn't work. And him kept throwing in a whole heap of players to see if it work. And me like, why did you not know that from before? You should have known that before. You said it yourself.
Bro, listen up, bro, before me come ranting, bro, me give the team time, Me meticulously scrutinize, the team and the coach and everything before me come here, That's why me I debunk this field thing and this player thing and this chemistry thing, bro. Because them players have been playing together too long. No. You sure say the coach seem way off, bro. The man them throw we are shared, you know what Guatemala did? Guatemala had intention. The man them literally start a B team, we see what the tactics were and how we could hurt them. And the man them literally go do them homework, go home and come out to come counter it. Right? And you never have a plan B, bro. Alright. You never have a plan B. And you're going at the game. You start a midfield with a BVI team who never have nothing to sit back, and you realize that you couldn't create not one proper good build-up chance against a BVI, and you come back with that same midfield against a far better team like Guatemala with that same midfield who never create anything unexpected. Brother, the striker them starve, brother. The striker them starve.
That's why when people say Warner Brown do nothing like game.
Warner Brown been pressed with that. Bro, the man I run like a headless chicken. I want to even realize the man I run like a headless chicken up there press. One man cannot press. The team was not organized to press with the man, and the man just keep running up and down, bro.
You see.
And that's suppressed go, bro.
So you all see right, yeah. Give me a second. Let me hear what Joseph. Let's see you come up. Let's hear what you have to add to the conversation.
Yeah, even.
Evening. Listen.
Yeah. All right. Before me put in something totally different from the way tone and say, all right. The question I want to ask you on show a curtain boss. The team where Steve McCullen start, the Jamaica team, which one of them better? Our Jamaica team or the Guatemala team? Man to man. Who have the better quality?
Would I say we have the better quality?
All right. Thanks. Thank you very much. Hold on. Thank you very much. So if we have the better quality, pan the team when pick up on the field, why would I blame Steve?
Me primarily blame him because of the CDM choice. That
Yeah, but
that
yeah,
didn't
but
work.
if,
As we said, that never worked against a opposition that was inferior to Guatemala. So we can't expect it would have worked against her. And we never even did do it when we did play at the stadium neither. We never even did use that midfield. And midfield is our problem. The midfield is our problem, right? That didn't work. We never even did use that midfield.
but what me I try to say to you, coach just take out the or construct the polish on them. The 11 man play for Jamaica that day, and the 11 man play for Guatemala that night. The Jamaica team is more of a better quality, yes or no?
Yes, so
Yeah,
you
we
are
agree. We
saying
agree. Yeah,
All
we
right,
agree.
then, so I'm gonna get to my point. So I'm gonna get to
You
my
get to the
point.
point.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna get to my point now.
yeah.
You see, when we watch the game, there, brother, when we watch a game, there, the Jamaican ball of them not have no fight in them, my youth. There's no serious hungry tackle. There's no serious hungry inside the Guatemala team. That is our problem. There's no fighting. There's no hunger. There's no say, yo, listen, we are Jamaica, we want to win the match. Is that the Guatemala man have over we? And Steve can't put that in the man them head that the man must do that themselves, brother.
Hold on. Me like I reach down to that point there. But it's like you reach street, you know. Because I
Yeah,
have a problem with that too. That's one of our big problem. But may I say something to you, my boss?
yeah,
Canada did have a decent coach before March, right?
right.
Oh, Canada play. Canada did improve, right? Canada did improve another coach before March, right?
Yeah,
Since March took over, have you seen any difference?
yeah, far more different.
Far more difference, right?
Yeah,
I make this point to you to say this.
I see him
A
play them.
coach is very impactful in how his team play. If you train like shit, bro, you're gonna look like shit out there. If you don't train for take on certain,
all right. All
you're
right,
gonna
then.
look
So,
like
let me say this.
so,
Let me
let me
share
tell you
some of my
something, boss.
points still strong. Let me
May I
share
tell
some of
you
my
something,
points
boss?
still
Hold
strong.
on, my boss.
Hold on,
May I say
let
this?
me share some of my points still strong.
But hold on, my
You
boss. May
remember
I say
what?
something you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Hold on, my boss. May I
yeah,
say something?
well,
Zin? No, I can tell you this. That's why I tell you so the coach have to get blamed. Two, I can tell you this. Zin, because you talk about fight and this. Your coach, brother, have to demand that. You have to have that posture. You have to demand that, bro. You have to demand that from your team, bro. No, me I say this, I know. I go to training, me not just talk and me come, because me go watch training, bro. Because watch the man in my train. Yes, the same way the man them play, brother. I see me so the man them train. When me watch other training session with other teams, bro, you see the same way you see Mexico play and Canada play and a fight, I saw the man them train. If you go out there. Every man I work for them thing is not no special, not the man I train. Big baller or no big baller. Everybody are put in the same fight. No, when I go watch training, bro, it come like a joke thing we are deal with. So how can you expect the team fair play with none of that where you not demand? The players are not being held to any standards, bro. Your coach have to demand that. You have to make, you know, since the man take out a Palmer, bro, and put in a Demary Gray for mash up that chemistry there, just to have a big name on the field. And I saw this thing I go, bro. Demary Gray for go fight for in position on the wing. Them are not supposed to kick out the man out time position because he's a big name. And at that, basically, I'm going from Unity Cup to right this, bro. That's why Case is upset, bro. Because we had something a base to work from, bro. And who messed it up? We shouldn't have built upon that, brother. We shouldn't have built upon that. So coaches, brother, have impact on all the players them play on the field, bro. It's not only players alone. Coach have a big impact on player play on field.
And I don't think even if we have the better player them, that if you play the players them not in the right position, you know what I mean? It that got change how effective they are in the
Everything,
field.
brother. You can ask so much for no much more.
Yeah, even if you're if you're again, I don't want to harp on this. If you're a good center back, that don't translate into a good CDM. If you're a good right back, it don't translate into a good forward necessarily. So if them play out of position, you're still not gonna get the most out of them. And a team that is as practiced and as hungry as Guatemala, you know, them are gonna take advantage of it. And
Definitely,
I think,
brother.
you know,
all right. Yeah, all right. So, Melissa was short curtain boss. That's it. All right. So, say this now. When me I tell you say, yo, the ball of them shall fight, and you said the coach supposed to implement it in them. All right. When me watch, even the smaller country them, when me watching even the smaller country them, the whole level baller put on great fight. Or when them lose, them tackle hard, them do everything with a passion. You know why? Them naturally a play for them country. You don't need a coach. Teach you for fight for your country.
Bro,
that make a
may I
difference.
say this again? May I say this again?
Yeah.
You see anything when you see the team them come out, they come do. You see where you see BVI do and sit back. Them work on that in a training. Me not ask you. Me not say players not fight. Mark me I say boss. Me not debunk your things say the man them not fight because I agree say them not have that fight. But your coach have to demand that. And you see, all right, may I say this? If you're a coach, right? All right. You think if I Justin Marsh have a Canada team and what's his name, as much as Davis, I'm best baller. If him say Davis, you see when you lose the ball, when you go up there go dribble, and you go up on the left wing up there, go dribble, and you lose the ball, more you track, more you run like crazy, come down back to come help defend. Right? You see if my boy don't do that, if Davis don't do that, I have the next youth like Alan Miller. Where when him tell Miller to do that, Miller do that, and it help the team to come back, come defend together. You know what happened to Davis? The coach now go pick him back. And
Stop hurting the ball. Yeah, not my. So listen what me I say.
Yeah.
You see when me see the man them, I go tackle. Every man me see a job. Or you're supposed to win some loose ball to get a good way off your score. Every man me see a job. That's a joke. You have to run hard to tackle by you.
When I said to you, my boss, you're coming like you still not get the point, bro.
No man, get the point, man. No man. Listen to me now. Where you say you're correct, man. Me I get the point, man. Me just add a little thing to what me I say. You're correct where you say, my youth. But me just add a thing what me I say. When the man them I go even go tackle, the man them I jog. I be a jog. Look at jogging the man them I do. They nah run hungry. I mean I say to myself, them things that make no sense.
Because
if you want.
Oh, the man them train, bro. Me not tell you something I want training, bro. And the man them at some
joke, brother. I joke, my word.
All right, may I show you this? May I say this or no? I'm been saying this as me I tell you, me I beat that thing hard because I want the man them to understand say this football thing, bro, is more than just players that come in. But don't want to tell about them Mason Green for coming. We're supposed to qualify with that team and without Mason Green that for coming.
Yeah, easily. 1, 2, 3.
Qualify. And watch this now. Brother, everything where you see the team them, they say everything we Guatemala do. You think kind of training them work on that?
True,
Brother,
man.
anything where you work on in training, all of the runs them where you see the man them work on. And when the man them practice in a training over and over. So you see when it comes to game time, the man them know it. What Jamaica is doing, brother, our practice, how we train, brother. If you train for a man and walk, and hey, you know, brother, same way, so we are going to play. So you're not going to have no fight or develop, bro. Or you think you find fight in a team, bro? You find fight in a team when players are fair compete for them spot and a man knows, you want to, You say me no, them are
Yeah,
no,
true.
me no run back. You say me no run back and see if I come on the field and I run back and I attack. See if I start take my game, you know. So when me a play, bro, me a dead, me a forgot dead for run, go back, go help defend, Cause me now gonna make Cephas come and come do that better than me and get my game.
I'm gonna ask a question. What on the circle? What on it? I'm gonna ask a question. How come some of them can't put on some basic passing?
Bro,
How the one them can't do a basic pass? Some basic. How that possible?
Hold on, me gonna say it again. How you train? And why me gonna say this, my brother? Me gonna answer you by saying this. Zin? Me answer you by saying this. If you watch out them, me see we are play teams, right? Me see we are, that's why me a debunk the thing where I'm gonna tell about we need better players. No, you see what you say? Me see teams as you've been saying, right? We're less than us, right? We have less players than us in terms of quality, right? We see teams move the ball, right? And the man
of course, yeah.
pass the 1-2. Don't tell me no, so we have better players and not doing that. So that to me, is not saying that we cannot do it because we are better players, so we must can do that. So this basically, logically, I said to me, say, oh, the team is training, right? Obviously, the man we have lesser quality than we. They are training to do just that. And so it becomes natural to them to fight for them position and fight for them country. Now, if you are not trained to do that, boy, you have where you have arm to Jamaica. Is the coach better than how we train? Now, watch this. When we have the ball in the Guatemala match, the defender them have the ball. All you see the midfielder them do is sit down pan Guatemala defender them. Nobody now come short. Nobody now come nothing. You think them don't have the ability to do that?
Exactly.
But that's why I show you, say, brother, is how the man them are trained and they are not being held accountable. So watch this now.
That is what I say, because like I'm sure if I got shut down the stream, but that is what I say. They must say the midfielder them stay too high. Play against Guatemala, except for Damian Lowe. But even he was caught up high when the goal score. That is, I don't know if that might be all them train. I don't know if that is a coach's instruction, but them definitely hang back too high. There was no connection or hardly a connection between the back line and the midfield to create anything up front.
Bro,
they stay too high and never they go down, and people are say, well, you should have at least 2 people collect the ball. But I mean, like,
bro,
if
all right, never said it.
That's a conscious thing, what them do.
Definitely, the space. This is a coach's tactics, bro. It's archaic, bro. The other team now plays, bro. A team have to play compact and near to each other for pass the 1-2s, and a team have to be moving. If your coach not demanding that, then I'm gonna go do what him feel like. And then on top of that, the players them now use them common sense neither. We don't use the common sense. It's like we not ball IQ, we not none of it. If you see how the game I go, you see me, and use your common sense, brother, and change the game on the field to get a result. Now, for example, you can definitely say it's how the man them train and the coach's instruction, because the man them keep staying up there to wait for the long balls in.
Yeah.
And when the man them kick the ball long, Guatemala also will feed and I win the first ball. So obviously, that is a tactic to try use the third player them to try win the first ball. But we never did that win, no first ball. So obviously, we never have no plan B. We never have a plan B.
And that's the problem with media.
Who knows now? When me say, when me have a problem with, and when me agree with the caller, is that the players them next problem we have, the big problem is the players them don't use them common sense on the field, bro. No, we stay a boom, right? Let's say we have one, we have how we play. We never have a plan B. Zin, we stay a boom, Zin, and we see say Guatemala pressure. We them do some 1-2 and them pressure. We gonna get some breakthrough, bro. Any common sense, brother, would I tell us, brother, kill them momentum. Andre Blake, go down and play like an injured man and kill them momentum.
Slow down the game up,
brother, up on the sideline to talk to my client and say, Maki, you know, so that strategy and now work still. What you think we can do? We are going to do this. You know them way there? And try to use a little momentum to kill. But you know, no style, brother.
Yeah, but show a curtain. So listen. As I said before, I'm agree with everything what you said. I see the Guatemala man, I play them and I rough them up. Hard tackle and I rough them up. We now do the same. Do the same to them, broke them vibes and as well you said, broke up the momentum, tackle hard, push them off the ball. Mr. 80 and Dominican Republic play and them look 10 times like them look like a far bigger side of that way. Far bigger. And them not have half quality like we. So how that possible?
Oh,
brother, this coming from madness. I'm madness, brethren.
Brother. You see me?
I'm madness, brethren.
All right, me see where we not match. You sure so we not no said, brother. We not do the simple things then, bro. And that a beat too. Not doing the simple things. And we have an archaic coach. And we keep getting some people who not agree with modern. We not demand more from the players then, brother. And all the players, them accountable players, fight for them spot. Too much prima donna baller in the team, brother. Too much prima donna baller in the team.
Yeah.
Too much prima donna baller in the team when they want to run and move, bro. And the coach have to demand that from them. Or bench them, brother. Zin? No.
Because Dixon, alright. Yes, alright. It's like how you say Dixon naturally run and fight and tackle, or some of the left say everybody do the same. The coach not have to tell Dixon that Dixon knows say I'm hunger when I'm of a Jamaica team. Dixon always do it. Him always do it. Him always tackle him. Him always go 100. So if the rest of the man them do that, me I tell you that's a better Jamaica team. That to me, I want our biggest problem.
Well,
if them that play like Dixon Virgin, you understand different because here what the difference. You see if they play like Dixon Shower Curtain, less momentum, less passing. I be the next team would have done more mistake. But you see when you have a good job, and you play like you're afraid of the man play like you want a girl, the man will go string more pass, more easier pass, because they not under pressure. So you have to tackle hard. You have to run on. Make them do some mistake. Why you think they look so pretty when they bounce the ball? We not run on hard. We not close mark. We not close mark. We not tackle hard. We take time and run good job. If as them look with a stretch out foot, man, beat them gone. My youth and I say go. You see now every team improve. Every team a recruit international baller now. So I feel go all out, I feel push. And I believe, as I agree with enough of our show currency, but me believe the player never for hungry themselves. They have for hungry and say, yo, I want Jamaica for win. I'm dead on the field. Brother, everybody who put on a France jersey, a Brazil jersey, a Argentina jersey, them man they hungry for them country, man. You coach have to tell them man they go dead on the field. Portugal, coach have to tell them man they go jack on dead on the field. Them man they play to them mash up on the field. Them hungry for them country, everybody want to represent their country to the fullest. That's my big point. Shocker, and I know you understand what I said.
Yeah, man, I understand what you say, man. Mentality, we have a weak mentality. That's the problem.
All right, well, yes, 98 World Cup, 98 World Cup, brother. They have less quality than now. And the man them fight hard. It was a hard fight. Jamaica team fight hard. Them dead on the field, them put them 100 at all time. That's my point to me. I say, coach, you know, need to tell a man say, yo, brother, go tackle hard and put out 100. Coach, you know, need to tell no man that will represent them country. Me not think no coach tell them that my youth.
The coach don't need to tell the man that.
But the coach don't need to tell the man that. And that means you're rampant. That means I'm bleeding you can. Put that instill that in no bother. You represent the country. My youth, you know, so if you represent your country far more of a quality that represent your club side. You didn't know that, my youth. Everyone want to represent their country.
And all of them believe that.
Everyone love their country more than their club. That is facts.
Yes, yo, Bridging and Bridging. Yeah, thanks for coming up today, though. But I mean, man for cut. You see me?
Yeah.
But you don't know, yeah, love the conversation still, and you know, just can't hope say Jamaica take this as a learning lesson, and you know, we do better next time around. You see me? Because this now will cut it if we want to qualify for the World Cup. But
yeah, man, big up yourself, man. Big up yourself, Shower Curtain boss, man.
Listen, thank you, Shower Curtain boss, and yeah. Big up till next time. All right, gentle folks. This has been another good stream, and we're going to cut it off here. Thanks for all of those that you who came up in the comment section, and Shower Curtain Boss and Joseph. Thanks for passing through, and we're going to cut it off right here. Until next time, walk good, take care of yourself. I am out.